All right, let's go, man.
Here we are. Nick Esayian, great friend of mine, from race car driver to San Diego Sheriff Rescue Squad to New Mexico LAPD to owner of light helmets to shit. What else have you done, Nick? What else haven't you done?
You're like 28-year entrepreneur, is that right?
Yeah. Owned a race series, biotech company investor, a whole bunch of other shit. More failures than successes. Dad, divorced dude.
I noticed you mentioned dad after failure.
Yeah. Well, we get my kids in here, you'll see, right? The one's laying back here right now with a pistol and a bottle of whiskey. Hoping I don't tell a story about him.
And overall, a fun dude to party with. We've hung out a little bit, but I've heard some of the party stories as well. When did you guys meet?
Like 2008, 2009 time frame?
Yeah, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
Dude, we were at the Coronado base, and we were doing a dog and pony show, so I'm doing the pro race gig. We bring a bunch of people down, and we were donating all the race winnings, contingency money to the Special Operations Warrior Foundation. And I meet Kevin, and my kids are little, and I'm at the beginning of my divorce, and my former wife, if there was like a loaded weapon around, like she was going to take me out right there. And he's standing in the back of the room, and he can just sense the tension that, her hatred for me is like vitriolic. And he bumps me, goes, dude, this is fucking boring. He goes, let's go to Danny's. So we fucking immediately just leave everyone and go and drink at Danny's, which of course made my former wife even more happy.
Yeah, they love that.
That was a good time.
That was funny.
All right, cool. Well, we normally start at the beginning, like where you grew up. I'm personally curious what got you into entrepreneurship as well, but let's start at the beginning, like where and how did you grow up?
Grew up in the Midwest, a little city called Racine, Wisconsin, more specifically Wind Point. Right between Milwaukee and Chicago. So born 1967, so I'm an old fucking guy, 57 years old now. But I'm living in this city that's pretty racially divided, right? Like it's industrials, a lot of people in manufacturing there. And it was an interesting place to grow up. And my parents have been, when they both passed away far later, 61 years they were married. So wow. I had a great mom and dad. Nobody's perfect, but both very caring, both very different. My dad was a Marine and actually 1951 was in Lebanon and rescued some civilians. And it was a pretty crazy story, but took a lot of pride there. And that's kind of what got me grounded in so much respect and admiration for the military and being a student of that in history in general. But as a little kid, like I'm this Armenian dude, right? I mean, I go to high school and I'm fucking 13 years old. I weigh 95 pounds and I'm 4'10". I mean, nothing says kick your ass. Then I show up and my pants are like pulled up to here. I get my wallet like this. I'm like, what were my parents fucking thinking? Like plaid fucking pants.
Got the cool fro.
But as a little dude, like I'm going to the Armenian church, Armenian first nation to accept Christianity as a national religion, right? My grandparents get slaughtered. They show up here. My parents are born here. They moved to this like residential area trying to get me out of the core of the city because they started out with nothing. So they send me to a Lutheran school. So when your name is Nick, it rhymes with a lot of stuff.
Facts.
Dude, I just got my ass handed to me on a fucking platter, right? And then I go to my church, and everybody goes to public school, and I'm going to the private school. They're like, you're an asshole, too. So, like, I had no, like, real home other than going home. I go to church. I feel like shit. I go to school. I feel like shit. and then I'm a November fucking baby. So I'm like a year and a half younger than some of the people in my class. So again, like get a tattoo on your face that says kick my ass. So I got used to fighting with people and, having a thick skin. And coming home, I put my Kiss record on, sit there, watch it go around, look at Kiss Alive 1, Kiss Alive 2 album cover. And I wasn't very good at sports at all until I got midway through high school. And then football, baseball, all of a sudden I was like this size. And loved football from when I was a little kid. The Packers were like the Halo team. But, I almost thought my name was Jesus Christ because every time I'd walk into the family room, my parents would be like, Jesus Christ, when the Packers were on, because they sucked. And but that was my gig, and I wanted to play football so badly. Like dirt bikes, football, all of this stuff. And my parents, of course, as an only kid, my mom's parents died early, so they got married. My dad, when he got back when he got out of the Marines. He ended up going to getting 3 master's degrees at night.
Wow.
4.0 student.
Jesus.
So I'm at a state fucking school, like playing a tiny bit of college football, and I'm barely a 3.0. Like, what excuse am I going to have, right? So none of this was very confidence inspiring. Go to school.
Your dad's a fucking awesome man, too. That was fucking amazing that I was able to meet him and your mom. That was, I will say, playing golf with your and dad and your uncle. It was some good times.
Well, they love you. My mom would come, and my mom was like 5'2", and she'd grab Kevin like this. She couldn't even reach around him and, give him the big hug. But these guys would fuck with my dad's got like mesothelioma, and we're in the cart. They're putting like a rubber snake in his bag. And my dad was always like, good humor, but there's a bunch of team guys in front of us, and the guy comes back, and Kevin sucks a bag of dicks at golf, right? So
I don't doubt that. Oh, yeah.
The guy gives him this driver, and it looks like this bronze, like, trophy driver, and we're playing in the Special Op Warrior
like
Foundation.
bright fucking orange or some shit.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, this driver's so fucking expensive. He goes, your game sucks. You should try it. So he hits a shot off the toe. It goes like 3 yards, right? He takes the club, and he's like, this is a piece of shit. And as a joke, throws it up. It gets caught in the tree. So now, like, everybody's stacking up behind us. So he takes another club and throws it up there, and it hits the hosel and breaks the fucking
Bito
head off the club.
fucking hucks a fucking
That's
club
right.
and breaks the fucking shaft. Oh, God.
Now, the dude in front of us doesn't know this, right? So we just take some athletic tape and tape the head back on it. He hits the best drive, and then he goes and puts it in the dude's bag on the next hole. So we don't find out until later that the guy got it at a yard sale for $5. So he's sweating it like it's $1,000 driver.
Oh, fuck, dude.
But my dad loved the shit. He passed away from mesothelioma, which they think he got from the troop ship. Because if you're the radio dude, you're up on the top. You breathe in the stuff, your nose to pipe, and they wrapped all the pipes in asbestos. But yeah, they were great. Undergrad, University of Wisconsin, and then I ended up working in corporate world for 6 years, and I fucking hated it. Like, somebody would say, this table is metal. Oh, no, dude, this is fucking wood. Nope, it's metal. And I did that for like 6 years. I was pulling my hair out. I got into sales because I wanted to make money. I started racing cars, and I'm like putting shit on credit cards because I'm like, oh, this car race shit's pretty expensive when you're paying for it yourself. And, that's kind of how the car race thing got set up. I couldn't play football anymore when I got out of college, and I went to a sports car race, and I'm like, man, this is cool.
Racing your IROC Z.
No, a fucking Dodge Neon, dude.
Dodge Neon.
They had this thing called that Neon ACR, and you're a car dude, and it was American Club Race, which...
Those things are pretty G'd out, dude. Yeah, they were good at the time.
So Dodge comes to me, and I had won some amateur races, and they're like, dude, we'll give you this car for like $5,000, and, just don't fuck up off track, and we'll support you. And the internet wasn't huge then, so you're in the races in this little fucking Neon, but there's 100 other dudes on the track at the same time, and the rich guy would come in, and he'd soup up the fucking motor, like deck the head, do all the shit, and you're like on the straightaways pulling away, and then the corners. But you could win money. Like, if you won one of those races, you win like $25,000. A car costs fucking nothing, but you're bopping around the country, and you're racing with IndyCar, and it was pretty cool, and some wild parties mixed in with that.
I bet. Yeah. How old were you at that time?
22, 23. And, I didn't get a pro race gig until maybe 2004 when I was on a real team. So, I raced, and you're traveling all over the country. I didn't even know how to change oil. So I had like a crew guy that worked for like $20 a day. And this guy would drive his own fucking pickup truck with my girlfriend, wife eventually, to like fucking Memphis, Tennessee. Like,
nobody rides for free.
Oh my God. I get to the last race. I blew this car up, and the thing fucking catches fire. And I'm like, dude, I got to run the last race. How am I going to get this shit done? So we rebuild this car the day before the race. Of course, everything happens late. The trailer's broken. We can't tow. We drive the fucking race car with no headlights from Milwaukee to Lansing, Michigan. I get on track. It's fucking monsoon. And the first qualifying, I pressed down on the brake all the way to the floor because nobody had changed a brake fluid, brake pads, and it's still spongy. And I'm like, what the fuck? And it was a piece of fried chicken when we were eating and drove in there that fell under there. But you go from that to showing up, and somebody's picking you up in a fucking helicopter and taking you to the track, and, they got the CBS and the Fox cam in the car and doing all this cool shit. But, the corporate world wasn't for me.
Team?
Eventually, yeah. So I raced for a BMW team, an Acura team, which is a factory Honda team, for many, many years, real-time racing. One of my best friends who knows Kevin well, Peter Cunningham, great guy, another great entrepreneurial story, probably much better than mine. Started that team, and then I raced for Aston Martin and a couple others mixed in there. But, man, I met some great people. And to be able to go and run somebody else's car when they're paying for it, and you bring your friends, and, I started my business in 98, 99. And instead of taking people to the fucking golf course, you're sitting in this $500,000 car, at the Long Beach Grand Prix, and they're sitting in the pit, and you get done, and they're like, we'll give you whatever the fuck you want, right? So.
Yeah, so you had the day job, or what the job situation looked like? Because racing's not cheap, but you were never you were a pro racer, but that wasn't your main income, right?
That's correct. So my first job out of college, I worked for Xerox. And it was like trading places. So they hire this dude that's never had like a drink before. He's got like cufflinks, his hair's perfect. And I come out and I'm like, Warrant is my favorite fucking band. I don't even know how to tie a fucking tie. I barely graduate from college. I'm sucking booze down every night, causing trouble. So they put us in, these classes together in Leesburg, Virginia. People don't realize that Xerox was a huge company. They had 105,000 employees. And the facility there, the sales training and the finance training was unbelievable. So I go through that. I learned a lot, but I knew that this wasn't my place, and I sucked at what I was doing. I mean, I could sell, but...
What are you selling, like fucking Xerox machines?
Yep. Copiers,
copiers?
Printing systems, all the shit. In fact...
damn.
Dunder Mifflin, dude.
Oh, my God.
PC load letter.
My options were going to the Marine Corps, Georgia Pacific, selling building supplies, because this is like 91, like fucking full recession. Like, I got no options. So I take this job, and the training was great, but man, I mean, the one thing is I had a buddy, I crashed a car through a house in college, and the guy that's with me totally lies his ass off. That's a story maybe we can tell. I think the statute of limitations over for it.
Totally sober.
Yeah,
But, well, pretty much. So this guy sticks up for me, right? And he calls me. He's like, dude, I got to make a fucking diploma. My dad owns like 30 gas stations. And unless I graduate and have a diploma, I get fucking nothing. So I'm like, dude, that diploma, like, it's printed on special paper. And he goes, you can make it on the Xerox Docutech, right?
Yeah.
So the dude shows up, and my buddy Fat Greg, he's this giant guy. He's fucking keen on this thing. I had to get access to the machine. Dude, we make this guy's diploma, and when we print it, the fucking letterhead's upside down, so it's fucked up. There's one sheet left, and I mean, Fat Greg, he's sweating like an Armenian kid in a spelling bee, and he's keen on the thing, and he prints the thing out perfectly. Dude fucking graduates. His parents, until they see this show, will never knew that.
Too late now.
107-11s later.
Yeah, it was a lot easier to fake shit in the 90s, bro.
It was.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of fake shit. Yeah.
But then I ended up getting this job at, had a couple other jobs selling shit. I wasn't very good at it. ADP, partied there. Then a company called Executone ended up getting bought by Bain. So we're interacting with the Bain guys. And they're like, you can pick any office you want to move to. So I'm in this Milwaukee office. It's run not well. So I look like a star. They're like New York, Atlanta, Philadelphia, whatever. I got this fax machine still in style, right? This pack of papers. I'm like, nope, Kansas City, nope, Dallas, nope, Orlando, Florida. And the lady office manager is like, oh, it was out of paper. There's one left. San Diego, California. I'm like,
that's the one.
Done. I'm in. So I move out here in 93, 94 and take over an office and, let the games begin. I mean.
How old are you at this point?
Gosh, probably 27, 28.
Okay, so you already started racing at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about 5 years in, and in fact, they offered me, I had a reload package. They were going to pay for my racing. And, man, I mean, it was a pretty good deal. But then I got here, and I didn't know fucking anybody in San Diego. So, I know guys up in L.A., but I can't go out with the people I'm working with. And finally, a dude is like, dude, you're working like 18 hours a day. We got to go out in Tijuana. And I'm like, sounds like a good idea.
Donkey
right?
show.
Oh, my God. Fast forward through the night down there, and we're at some place that's like a little club, but chicks can dance. The local girls are dancing on this stage, which probably isn't much bigger than this table. And there's two girls from like San Diego State that are like, we want to dance, and they wouldn't let them get up and dance. And I'm like, I can fix that. So I give the guy like $300, right? Chicks are up there dancing, taking their clothes off, and all of a sudden I'm like, I think somebody threw something. And then I hear smash, and I look, and the local girls are up on the balcony throwing fucking bottles at these girls. The next thing you know, it's like a full roadhouse fight. The fucking local guys, the last thing I remember seeing was a guy at the bar, like they just push all the liquor bottles down, and he's just throwing random bottles into the crowd. So I grab my buddy, whose pants are down, by the way. He falls off the stage, knocks his fucking tooth out. I'm like, dude, pull your pants up. We got to go. So we're fighting our way to the front door. And if you're ever in Captain Nemo's submarine ride, the round glass with
fucking
the little
portal.
wire in there.
Oh, yeah.
I look through the portal. The federales are there. And, dude, I shit you not, this fucking dude has got the bandoleros with shotgun shells. He's got this Remington shotgun.
He's ready to go.
Before I can even retreat, the door slams open, and I get pushed back with the dude I'm with, Toothless, who works for me, by the way. And it's during the week. And I end up in this fucking janitor's closet on my back. And, you know, there's plastic yellow buckets. Mm-hmm. There's another dude in there. He's got one fucking flip-flop. He weighs like 110 pounds. I'm like, who the fuck are you? He's like, I'm Private Smith, United States Marine Corps. I'm like, motherfucker. So all three of us are
out of my hiding spot.
we're looking through the curtain into the room. And, dude, it's a full-on roadhouse melee. And I look to the left, and I can see through the glass that the federale's out there, the big dude with the shotgun. I'm like, the chance of him
Fucking
shooting us.
Pancho Villa.
Dude, I'm like, whatever we're doing. He's like, I lost my wallet. I'm like, dude, that's another problem for another fucking time. Take the one flip-flop off and let's fucking go. So we go out, yell, run, serpentine, like the fucking movie. We run. We get back together. Dude, we had to sneak the guy across the border. This is pre-9/11. But he had no money. So I give him $100 in cash to take a cab up to Pendleton.
That's nice of you.
Dude, a year later, I get a fucking envelope with a check. Mr. Esayian, thanks so much for helping me. Look me up
No
like
way.
Nick, Racer, blah, blah, blah. And sends me a check. I tore it up and threw it away, but it's a good story.
Oh, that's
Holy
awesome.
shit.
That was really
That's
cool.
fucking crazy. That's probably a general by now. I know, literally. Or in jail.
Both.
Yeah, both.
That's fucking awesome.
So that was the, kind of the start. Like I left Bain. I started a marketing company. Harvard actually did a case study on it. So you got me racing cars, drinking, causing trouble. And I partnered up with this Jewish dude that I meet at one of our clients. And he studies Jewish law, writes Jewish law books. He's got 98 kids, and
Is that
still one of my best
regular
buddies.
law?
Technically, yeah.
Hey, trust me. I mean, that whole thing is another world. But so we start this company, and we don't know what we're going to do, but we think we're going to get involved in infomercial stuff. We're like, man, these guys are making a lot of money.
How old were you at the time? Was this
Probably 29 or 30, 31, somewhere right in there, right around 30. And I had taken 6 months, and I did a consulting gig for the guys that made the television show Cops. So when you watch an old cop show at the end, Scott Barber and John Langley, God bless both of them, they're both passed away. These guys were the coolest fucking guys. So when I was doing the Bain gig, Executone gig, I meet these guys. They call me. They're like, hey, we need to hire a guy to help us get this business propped up.
That's like the bad boys.
Exactly.
Yeah. I remember that.
It's my favorite.
So what these fucking guys were doing is, if you watch Cops, they can't put the profanity, violence, or sex on TV. But if you're watching it, you want to see profanity, violence, and sex, and it's just kind of getting to the edge of it. So they start selling videotapes at the time and DVDs of all the shit they couldn't put on air. So they start a company, and they're like, hey, will you help us get it propped up? I'm like, sure. So
Like
we're
Patreon.
It kind of was the predecessor.
Behind the scenes.
But these guys are they're making fucking money, tens of millions and then hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm in the office one day, and the whole fucking office is shaking. The Coast Guard fucking helicopter lands. The guy comes out, helmet on, fucking lightning bolts. They want the videotapes, right? So we're giving them the Cops tapes. And I'm like,
Wait, the Coast Guard came?
yeah, they landed at some place close to our office of Serrano Valley Road, and the guys just came over, and they're like, yeah, we saw the address at the end, because if
They
you
can
send
just send an email.
no, there was no email.
Instead
Nobody
of
was
fax.
doing this, right? So
Send a helicopter.
dude, we had people send bomb threats like it was crazy. So we meet with Jerry Springer, because we're like, hey, he's got cutting room floor shit too, right?
He was a king of that at the time.
Oh, he's the master. So he's all full of booze, and he's like, we'll sell you guys the footage for $300,000, and they sell a fucking boatload of it. Then they get Joe Francis, the Girls Gone Wild guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Imagine that cutting room floor footage.
Oh, I bet.
So I'm 6 months into this, and I'm like, everybody's got a Ferrari but me, right? I'm looking around, I'm like, I got to go and do my own thing. At which point I hook up with Ari, the dude that Harvard did the case study on, and we start and we get our ass handed to us for like 3 years. I mean, I'm making no money, using change to fucking pay for lunch and shit like that. But that's how it started.
So what how were you involved in the previous company that was buying the cutting room floor footage? Was that your partner in that, or was it like you were working for the company?
I was just working for them. They hired me as a consultant to come in and help. So in Sorrento Valley, what they would do was, back then, nobody was ordering things online. It was an 800 number. So they had these huge teleservice companies in like Nashville to answer phones. But you wouldn't know if, do they convert 10% of the calls or 50% of the calls? So what we did is we created a little call center so you could tell, hey, we can convert 60% of the calls. So the big guy should be able to convert, let's say 50%, or at least get close. But we were making the videos and the packaging and processing checks. And so I learned this direct response business. And then I thought, man, I can go do this on my own. And like anything else, as you guys are aware, it's never fucking easy.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to it once you actually like crack the hood and start building your own shit.
Yeah. 100%.
But that is pretty cool, though, in terms of, I remember infomercials back in, in the 90s where, 10 o'clock at night and you're just like the fucking behind the scenes girls going wild shit and like fucking amazing.
Yep. I mean, we struggled in the beginning.
Like mailing DVDs.
That was it.
Or VHS at the time, probably.
Dude, don't laugh. Like, I made a fortune by random chance. So 2006, 7, the economy gets wobbly, right? Everybody's like, oh, they had this thing called the Community Reinvestment Act, which basically let banks loan money to fucking anybody and the government would guarantee it. Well, what could go wrong there, right? So all of a sudden the rates go up a little bit and all these people that didn't have their income checked or their assets checked start defaulting on the loans and everybody's property values start to crash, right?
Yeah, that's right when I bought a house. Perfect timing.
Yep. So there was this dude by the name of Kevin Trudeau, was a total fucking snake oil salesman selling this weight loss thing called weight loss cures, the secrets they don't want you to know about. So we get a hold of this guy and we're like, hey, would you do an infomercial for us? We're going to do it on debt. We're going to call it Debt Cures. We don't have the book written or anything. We just have this fucking idea. He's like, I'll do it, but I need 150 grand for the day. And then I want a percentage after that. And, we go through all of the rigmarole to do this infomercial. We don't even have a book. We don't even have a product. We get him in. He shoots it. It's every last penny I had. I mean, I was selling like fillings to get this guy in the studio. And my partner, of course, he can't work on Saturday or Sunday or whatever the holiday is. He goes, but if I happen to walk by my fax machine when we run this thing, put the average order and the cost per order on a sheet, and it'll pop out, and I'll get to see it. But I can't call you until the next day, dude. Grand fucking slam. Fast forward, we get 2 top 100 books of the century, Debt Cures and Free Money. We did a Navy SEAL coin collection after you guys killed Bin Laden, and in fact, the coin used him on the fucking coin.
What?
No shit.
Yeah. Even though you had nothing to do
I'm
with
going to need some of that NIL money.
So we're doing all these products. In the infomercial, for every 5 you try, maybe one will work. But we were killing it. And then you build an infrastructure. You just keep doing them over and over and over. So we're rolling in some dough. I'm racing cars. I'm married. My kids are little. We're doing the next project and the next project.
So you're like mid-30s at this time?
Yeah, I'm in my 30s at this time, mid to late 30s. It's cranking along. I decide, hey, I got to do something philanthropic. So I go and join the San Diego Sheriff Department. I go through an academy they had for search and rescue, and you can pick anything from like motorized or mounted on horses, medical. It's a great academy. The CEO of Scripps, La Jolla, Chris Van Gorder was running it. I met him. I was super impressed. So I'm doing that, and my marriage is not solid. Like, my former wife, totally like involved still with her mom and her sister. So it's like being married to her family, more or less just her. And I can say this now because we get along, and I think she gets it. But I was doing anything I could do to not fucking be home.
Yeah.
So I got 2 little guys, and I'm spending whatever time I can spend with them. But I'm at the racetrack. I'm doing SAR stuff. I go back and get my master's, and I'm working my ass off. And when I go to the track, I take them with me. I go to all their sports. I coach. But I don't want to be home because I'm doing my best, like trying to stay in good shape, try and provide a good life. The houses are getting bigger, you get more cars. You know, hey, we can fly private. We can do this. We can do this. We started with fucking nothing.
Yeah, that place you had in Del Mar was fucking bomb, dude.
Yeah, that was a cool house.
Fucking rad. Big ass fucking theater.
That was, we'd sit in that thing and watch football. There'd be like 12 of us like burping and farting in there. Pitch black, right? The fantasy football thing on one TV and 2 games on the others. And then everybody else would be outside. But that was a cool
Halftime,
crib.
we go play Nerf Wars with his kids.
Yeah,
Fucking
run around
rad.
with rifles. And then my kids would go to school on Monday and say, you know, what'd you do, little Sally? Oh, you know, I went to Disney. What'd you do, little Billy? Oh, you know, I went down to the Midway Museum. What'd you do, Troy and Jake? Oh, we had a gunfight in my house with the Navy SEALs. And they'd be like, you're a fucking liar.
They taught me what an L-shaped ambush was.
Exactly. But,
cool.
you know, life goes through these ebbs and flows. And, man, I mean, at that time, flying pretty high, not necessarily super happy because I'm like, fuck, I kind of feel alone in this gig. Like, I had the greatest group of people around me from the race community, my sheriff gig, who I'm still friends with those guys. And you know a lot of these guys, my buddy Jay and Frank Motley, guys from college, just all these different areas, but just kind of empty because now I'm like, fuck, is my life going to be like this for the next 35 years? I mean, kind of in this loveless marriage, at least so that's how I felt. And I certainly wasn't perfect, but it's like, how am I going to get out of this? And I just kept trying different things. And it was, am I going to make more money, give more attention? Let's go mountain biking. Let's go this. Let's try tennis. And I just couldn't, you know, I couldn't make her happy. She had to make herself happy. And, but that certainly didn't make me feel great.
Was it like a communication issue with you guys? Or like you guys are misaligned on what you wanted? Because it sounds like you built a pretty good life for her. Like, what was she unhappy with in that?
You know, she was very tethered to her mom, sister, her family. And we were
still in Wisconsin, right?
They were still in Wisconsin, right? And, you know, I got along with them fine. But they didn't really come out and visit us a lot or necessarily support with the kids by visiting a lot. And my parents were a little more flexible in terms of travel and helping out. But the challenge is when we first got married, even before we had kids, I'd come home and she'd be crying every day.
Wow.
Because somebody from home would have said, you should be here. You missed this. We're doing this today.
Oh,
and I'm like, fuck me, like, let's get a golden retriever. And then and that worked, right? Because we all think like, hey, I'm going to keep throwing things at this problem and I'm going to make this person happy. And then it was, we'll get another car and we've got our first little house in Encinitas that went from, I think we paid like $385,000. It's probably worth $2 million now, right? Like, and then it was the next house. And then, well, you can go back more often, or let's have them come to the track. And I just couldn't get her out of that. And I don't know if it was a mild form of clinical depression, but finally I'm like, we got to go see somebody. Mm-hmm. And then after getting thwarted 4 times where the therapist says the same thing, it's like, that dude is not perfect, but you got to deal with this or it's going to blow up. And I just kept trying. And finally I got to a point, this is like 2008, about the time I met Kevin, and I'm like,
what a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Met in Hong Kong.
I'm like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. So I'm like, dude, either we got to pick a therapist and we're going to jam through this together and we'll sink or swim. We're going to have an open marriage or we're getting fucking divorced. And I couldn't get any traction. So I started making some bad decisions.
Yeah, well, it's tough, man. I mean, communication is, I'm no expert on fucking relationships or marriage by any means. But what I have noticed is that because Disney and I have a pretty good, relatively pretty good relationship now compared to what I've been in the past, and some of the stories of everybody that we all know. But I found that, man, the alignment is such a fucking key thing. Like, you have to want the same general direction.
Yep.
But I don't know where it's going with that, but yeah, if you can feel very, very alone when you're not aligned with that. Like, you can do anything. You can do, build a massive business and have all these houses and do really cool shit. But if that's not what the other person wants, then it's like, fuck, man. Like, you feel like you don't have a partner in it, and there's nothing that fixes that except that other person. But the thing with women is that they're like allergic to accountability.
Yeah. it's
like nothing's their fault.
Yeah.
Everything is always somebody else's fault. They never have to change. And I'm just like, bro, what the, like,
That's exactly how I
some
felt
of
my
this
first
is
marriage.
you. Yeah. And like, I deal with Disney and I deal with this all the time. And like we piss each other because we work together. So like we work together all the fucking time. So we just annoy the fuck out of each other. Like
That's a tough scenario.
Yeah, but it's like, and we have these arguments. And I'm like, hey, yeah, you know what? I could do this better. I can work on that. You know, hey, do you think that you could do this better? What are you talking about? I don't need to do anything. I'm like, babe, no. Like, really need to. Like, maybe I'm mostly at fault. Maybe like 1% you. No. I'm like, all right, well, yeah.
0.25.
I was perpetually made to feel like every part of my first marital issues was all me. Massive factor, but you know, and then after the divorce and kind of cleared my head, and now in my second marriage, I realized like. I mean, exactly what Ryan's saying. Like, it's just levels of communication. But also, I didn't find success until after I left that bitch. Well, she left me, which is a blessing in disguise. But, you know, like, it was just a hindrance because, like, our goals were going this way. And then also you factor in Blackwater and me, being a dirtbag. And then you factor in her turning into, a liberal feminist. And we're not.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough combo, baby.
No fixing that.
Yeah, the right partner makes such a massive difference, man.
Did you feel when you were going through that a little bit like I did, like there's not like a next chapter to this, like it's a fucking disaster. Like you're not going to be able to get through going through the split up. It's the money thing. If you have kids, it's the kid thing. You're failing. I felt like it was a personal failure for me.
Hands down. And it was the first time I ever felt like I failed, military career was great and, everything else like post, but I've never felt that level of failure. And especially when she left me and like took everything, and like now I'm all alone in this empty house in Mexico. And big rut of depression and, kind of questioning myself and, how did I do this? And also not wanting to talk to anybody because of, embarrassment and all the failure. And to your point, I was throwing money at it by, going on trips. And everything was great on a trip. But as soon as we'd come back to normal life, then everything just, cranked right back up and everything was right back where it was.
Yeah. It's almost like you're using the trips as a drug. Like,
hands down.
I'm not a huge drinker. Like, I mean, I drink and I'm not a drug guy, gamble a little, whatever. But man, my drug was flesh. Like, I was going through chicks. 5, 6 chicks, banging 3 chicks like crazy in a day. Like,
that's a lot of work.
I mean, hundreds, if not thousands. Like, it was crazy, right? I'm living in a 12,000 square foot house. I'm racing cars. I'm doing the SAR thing. I'm going with these fuckers to New Mexico to serve warrants. I'm not the handsomest guy in the world, but you can cover a lot of shit up with,
with money.
with other stuff, right?
Race cars.
So, I mean, I was thinner then, but you're going through this and it was almost like dopamine hit. Like, I know people, they shop on QVC or they're gambling, they're doing the video gambling thing. For me, it was like.
You get chicks on QVC?
Well, you blow them up like. But
for 3 easy payments.
You think that's fixing the deal. It's just kicking it down the road, right? And when I was married, I just kept my schedule so busy that I didn't have to deal with it. Because the more I tried, the worse and shitty I felt. And I remember the day I knew I was getting divorced, we were going on a trip the next day, and I was laying in bed awake like, this fucking sucks. And the next day, I'm dressed up. We're jamming shit in our like Suburban or Yukon or whatever, some big SUV. The kids are in there. And I'm like, fuck, I forgot a black belt. I went and got it, rolled it up. And she was zipping, some suitcase up, like 3 giant fucking suitcases. I'm like, hey, babe, can you throw this in your suitcase? She looked at me and said, I don't have room. And zipped the suitcase up. And I looked at her and I'm like, hey, I want you to remember this moment. I'll tell you why at a different time. And that's when I knew. I was so fucking pissed then. Like, I didn't give a shit. And then once I decided to move on, man, I fucking moved on like he saw it. Like, I mean,
no looking back.
Oh man, and I handled it shitty. I should have been. Hey, I'm punching out of the jet. I'm done. But I totally blurred the line of marriage, not marriage. And if I had to redo that, that's my biggest mistake. And I will say this: that to my former wife's credit, and maybe a little bit to mine, the first 5 years are pretty tough because we had 2 little dudes, and they're great kids. But she and I now are best friends, very good friends. She's awesome. I'd love her as the boy's mom. But, man, it was a voyage to get from how you felt and I felt to get there. How did you get through that chapter?
Drugs and pussy.
Yeah.
The old standby.
Lots of boofing.
But
got an OnlyFans page.
But yeah, there was a moment where I remember specifically I had 3 girls that I was sleeping with at the time, like in my house in Mexico. all doing drugs and drinking, and I took like one big rip off a DMT pen and just kind of had this like look around. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And so I went upstairs, took a bottle of tequila with me, a pack of cigarettes, and sat up there for the better part of like 5 hours just contemplating everything. And in the morning, I told all three of them, pack your fucking bags. We're getting in the car. I'm taking you back into San Diego. Dropped them off, and then that was the moment that I just decided, like, I have to make a change. I'm going to die or, catch a shit ton of STDs. And I just didn't like who I was becoming or what I was. And then after that, went to college, got that, got a halfway decent job, and just pulled my head out of my ass.
Good for you. I mean, because not everybody pulls out of it, right?
No.
And, I've had some dark times when I was getting divorced, but I was ready. So I was okay. But it still was a struggle. I was so worried I was going to fuck my kids up.
Yeah.
And one of my buddies sat me down, and he's like, dude, how many of your friends, of your best buddies, are in families where they were divorced? And I'm like, oh, probably half. And he's like, you love us still. We're all not fuck-ups, right? So your kids are going to be fine if you stay focused, because your former wife's going to still love your kids. You're going to love your kids. You just got to stay focused on your kids. And that made me feel a lot better. But I'll tell you, my worst day when I was getting divorced was probably maybe 4 or 5 years after I was divorced. I'm still living in this big house. I'm moving to another big house, dumb. And I'm pooped because I'm packing shit. And my former wife's there helping me pack, because now we're kind of over the bumpy part. My assistant's there, not that one, is helping me pack. and the girl I'm dating at the time, Cheryl, is there helping me pack. And I laid in my older son's bed just to like take a 2-second break. And man, I just broke down because I thought, what did he feel like when he was laying in this bed and we were fighting or we were getting divorced? Because he was 6 or 7 years old. He didn't know what the next chapter is going to be. And man, that to me was just one of my worst days, was the energy of just laying there and thinking about that. So,
well, but also too, I do think that it's a positive and powerful move that you had the balls to say, I'm not happy in this. I've tried fixing it and it's not fixable. And then you call it and you move on to the next chapter, and you're jumping and trusting yourself to figure out. Because I know also we all know a character like this. A friend of mine, we're not friends anymore, but he had married to a chick who was a real fucking bitch, and he didn't like it either. They were sleeping in separate beds. They hadn't slept together in years, and they were just together for their kid. And I was talking to him, man. I'm like, he's like, well, we just stay together for the kid. I'm like, wouldn't it be a better example for your kid to show that like your dad is happy and moving forward and able to make his own decisions and be independent and push through these things, rather than I don't think that's I think it's significantly worse to stay in a loveless marriage where you're setting a bad example, where you're setting a worse example for the kid by being in a bad relationship than being single and taking the power move of like taking control of your own destiny and moving forward.
1,000%. And I will say, if my
kids, a lot of
kids,
people don't have the balls to do it.
No, but I'll say this though, and I'll tell anybody that's going through this: if you get to the point where you're going to fucking tap, like I did it in a cowardly way. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to either do this or this or this. Like unless you make a decision, I should have been like, hey, I'm fucking done. I'm drawing the line and moving on. And in California, it didn't matter. And I thought, oh, maybe, the baby Jesus will reach down himself and turn a switch on her back and she'll be great and I'll go back. But that wasn't going to fucking happen, right? And I should have just cut it off, right? Mm-hmm. And said, hey, let's advance. And I was probably a chicken shit because I was worried about money and kids and maybe some miracle will happen, and it wasn't going to happen. So the transition point, I wish I would have done differently, but I did the right thing, and I had exhausted everything like it sounds like you did when you were going to tap. And I look at my kids now, and they've gotten to see a happier mom, a happier dad, honest mom and an honest dad. And one of the best compliments my son ever gave me is he's like, man, I look at my situation, and but you guys get along so well. And we can all go and do things together. And, I want her to be happy and have a successful life. But, man, my kids ended up fine. And everybody's kids can end up fine. But, dude, when you tap, you need to make your kids the number one priority, right? Like, if we all went around this room and you had to pick health, like when I was a kid, people would say, oh, your health is everything. That's true. Physical health, mental health, relationship health, and your financial health. Those 4 things, right? So when you got done going through that, like, what got you going again? Like,
I think just like the fear of embarrassment, right? And so I knew like I had to start over, new lease on life, moved back from Mexico, back to San Diego, new job in college, and it was just I gotta make this right. Like I was chasing success, I was chasing companies and titles and things of that nature, and once you get a little bit, then it just kind of fuels it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, fuck yeah, like I got this. And it was just, and also a good support structure. I had one good buddy, best friends, in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he called me and called me out of the blue, and I didn't want to talk to him at the time, right? But I can be very open, transparent with him, and I just broke down, lost it, and told him what was going on, and he gave me a little bit of financial support, paid everything back in full in order to kind of get back and have my first and last, because at the same time that my ex-wife left me, 2 days later, I got laid off.
Ugh.
And then also, when I came back to an empty house in Mexico, there was, a letter and an Excel spreadsheet, and I made a big fucking mistake by trusting her with every single bit of the finances. And so now I have $1,000 in my name, no fucking job, no life, and I'm living in Mexico by myself.
Yeah.
And so that was hands down fucking rock bottom. And so after that, I'm like, all right, I got to get this back. And ended up getting it back.
I think that's what a lot of guys are afraid of. And I want to, because you and I talked about this yesterday, I want to dive into that. But I think I've noticed that because that's the nice thing about getting older. Maybe one of the only nice things is that like you get to see patterns, and it's easier to recognize the patterns after a while, because you're like, oh, this is another one of these things, and then you can kind of apply solutions easier. But I know when I was with my daughter's mom, we were together for a while. We bought a house together. I had a pretty nice life for an E5 team guy. I had a couple cars that I owned outright, a little like race car, a jet ski, and was doing okay, but I was fucking not happy, and I was miserable, and with a chick that I resented, and I was done.
Yeah.
At the catalyst moment where like, hey, I'm done. I called it. And I thought that in my decision-making process in that catalyst moment, I was like, okay, I'm probably going to have to, I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I thought like, man, I'll probably definitely sell the jet ski and maybe have to sell one of the cars. I didn't know it was going to be fucking horrible for years.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm glad I didn't know it at the time because it made the decision easier. But I'm glad I went through it, because now life is so much fucking better, and the opportunities I've been able to pursue because I left that situation have been amazing. But I think a lot of people are afraid of that dip, because you reach a certain level in life and then you don't want to go backwards, and you feel like a failure. You feel like everybody's judging you, and you feel like a loser. But the reality is, like, sometimes you gotta take a step backward to take a different direction that's actually going to take you further.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little about because you had a great story about like how that, like the dip that you went through in that process?
And I mean, I'm still in recovery mode. So, in California is different than a lot of states, right? Don't fucking get married here if you're going to get married. The deal was...
Does it matter where you get married or just where you get divorced?
I think both.
It's divorced.
Yeah.
So if you get married somewhere else, you still get divorced in California, you're still fucked.
You're
right?
fucked. Yeah. So
ask me how I know.
Yeah. You and I want to hear your story too.
It's not as bad as yours.
So we start out with when I moved out here, I was making 6 figures, but 6 figures was dog shit, right? I mean, at that time in a corporate world, you can't go and buy a house in the ranch for $6, $8, $9 million. You're just never going to do it. So I'm making real dough, and I'm like, man, I'm an entrepreneurial guy. I've had some success. I'm going to sign a non-modifiable agreement. And the court is like, your case is so complicated, valuation of different companies and assets going up and down. You're racing cars, you're doing this, you're owning property, you've got IP. So we go through this thing, and I'm just going to use a round number, say it's $9 or $10 million, right? And I'm writing a check for between a house property tax, equalization payment, spousal support, all of this stuff, child support, almost $30,000 a month, plus a big chunk up front. And I mean, you're like, oh, that guy's bitching, da-da-da-da-da. I was so lucky to have all that dough. Dude, I worked my ass off, like 80, 90 hours a week to get to that point. And now somebody that wasn't really contributing, not like making cookies and bringing them to the employees, is off doing their thing. And she's angry at me, and now I'm pissed, right? So I'm in angry mode. I don't want to give up my giant house or all my cars, my man cave, hot rods, all this other shit. So I'm like, I'm going to be a little more aggressive in my investment and in businesses I start. And at that time, the economy's roiling, right? So I get smoked in the Arizona real estate market. And I'm trying to be the guy with character and not short sell the property. So 1031, what happens is if I buy one house and then I go and buy two and then I go and buy four, I'm deferring the tax, the income gain, but I have to buy bigger shit with more financing. Well, all of a sudden I own a whole bunch of vacant lots that go from $500,000 in value to $50,000 in value. And between that and the divorce, I'm like off the rails, and I'm paying money out everywhere. And I'm like, fuck, shrink down a little bit, earn, chase, get stuff done. I'm trying to extend out so that I can hit the next success. And man, the next success, it just rolled right into the fucking pandemic, right? Oh. And so I buy this helmet company with some buddies. We're not really taking salaries. Pandemic hits. We're in it for 9 months. And now I can't sell anything.
And nobody's playing organized sports.
No one's playing organized sports. So I sell my house. I rent a house from a buddy that's, still pretty nice. Then I keep downsizing. And every time I just felt like, fuck, I fucked up. Like,
fucked up. Yeah.
And maybe I should have sold everything right away and just shrunk my lifestyle down, but my ego was too big to do that. So it just got worse and worse. And finally, we're sitting in this office. We know we can't sell anything. Who knows how long the pandemic's going to go? My kids are bouncing back and forth. And I actually got to a point going from being worth, I don't know how much, $20 million or whatever, make the number somewhere around there, to taking one of my kids' Target gift cards that we had bought a video game with. Somebody gave him a $40 gift card, and there was 12 or 13 bucks on it. And I went to Target to buy fucking noodles, and I felt like a fucking loser. And everyone around's like, "Oh, dude, you owned all these companies, you raised cars, you did this, your kids, da 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 da." And I was like,
"If only you knew."
Yep. I got home and I sat there and I put that thing in the pot. And man, if there was a day I was gonna swallow a fucking bullet, it would have been that day because, rewind. You go through this womanizing piece, date this chick for 5 years who was great, and I was kind of a dick in the beginning, and she had some things that didn't work either, right? You can have a great chick that's 95%, but if there's a piece of it that's bad, it fucks things up. It's like a fly in the ointment. And of course, some of my behavior early on took that 5% and magnified it like this big. Yep. That's on me. But between that, and I couldn't quite let that go. And now I'm sitting in my fucking closet in a place that I don't like with the train blasting by my place. It's still a beach place, but so I'm making it sound a lot worse than it was. But dude, when you're fucking taking nickels and dimes and people, my buddies are loaning me some dough, like, "Oh, dude, I'll give you this, and I'm digging myself farther in the hole. And I still haven't dug my way out of it. I mean, it's in process, but I'll tell you those dark times. But the thing that I kept telling myself was, dude, if you go jump off the bridge, the chance of your kids jumping off the bridge goes through the roof. And I would never, nor would anyone that we know, put your kids in harm's way. So why would I do that? So
it's
I'm
like 70% or something, isn't it?
It's huge. Yeah. It's like 7x. And so I put that off to the side, but I'm like, how am I going to do this? And now you start taking money from other people, like everybody does in a startup, right? But most of the startups I funded myself. Now I've got friends who doing it. You can't just pop smoke and go and work for the PPE company selling fucking masks.
It's one thing losing your own money. It's nothing losing your friend's money.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, man, if I die from a heart attack, it'll be the best thing that can happen because I don't have to deal with this pain. And because if you go do something to yourself, you fuck your kids, all the people around you. Look at the accomplishments of you guys in the teams and all the things you've gone through. If you do that, the only thing people are going to remember is that you took your own life. And I can understand that thought process when guys do. I had a buddy that was in the Air Force, and he retires and he goes and works in Saudi or UAE or wherever where they're flying. They have Strike Eagles or something similar, doing all this ground stuff on, how do you call in airstrikes. And he was working with some guys from another country, and the other guys from the other country are just phoning it in, and he's like, we got to do this properly. Like, these guys could be dropping bombs close to our guys. So he kind of gets blackballed. He quits, and he calls me, and he's like, hey, I just wanted to call you and tell you thanks for being my friend. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't sound like the conversation I want to have. So we get into it, and he had gotten in a financial jam because he was making big money, training offshore, comes back, and we talk through it. And I'm like, dude, your kid is going to be living with that forever, so you're not going to go down that path. Fast forward like 4 or 5 years, he calls me. He's like, dude, I just fucking moved into my new house. I paid cash for a Jeep. And I'm like, he's like, I was ready to go, and I was just calling you. It was almost like a goodbye. And that always kept ringing in my head,
it's a
right?
permanent choice to a temporary problem.
It's like, where's that money you owe me, bitch?
but when people were having hard times, when I had gone through, like everybody goes through gyrations, right? But when people are really having hard times, I'd have like empathy for somebody, and you feel bad and you try to help them. But now, after going through this, my entire mindset is different. Like, I mean, sitting here and sharing these stories with people that I don't know that are going to watch this, I'm not doing it because it's benefiting me. I mean, some of it's a little bit embarrassing, and I mean, you and I know each other, but we're sharing stuff. It's because I want other people to understand, like, man, there's a next day to this, and you're going to punch through it. And whether it's the finance side, the girl side, the kid side, or whatever else, you got to stop looking at, the destination, I'm swimming to that island, and start getting down to just taking 1 or 2 strokes, because the next day is another chance, another restart. And you can't undo any of the decisions you made, who you married, where you spent money on, what business you started, but you can certainly make those changes for tomorrow. So, and I'm sure you experience this shit too.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it now, there was some guessing of, fuck, this would be sick if, I wasn't here anymore.
Yep.
And never to the point of suicide, but, that's why I laughed. You're like, fuck, I really wish I had a heart attack right now.
Yep.
And I fucking put a lot of shit in my body to try to get me to that point, and it didn't work.
Yep.
But, permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yep.
And I look back on it now, and I feel like now, and, you were talking about the empathy thing, back in the day, I was very judgmental of the guys that would kill themselves. And, I've gone on record saying it, where I just feel it's selfish, because of your kids and because of the other people that care about you. And now having, gone through a pretty solid rut and not really wanting to be here. And then now, being where I'm at now and happier than I've ever been, it's like, come on, dude, we got this.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the thing about, like, we talk about pattern recognition, getting older. Like, we've all had, like, a lot of friends kill themselves. And after the first couple ones, you're like, oh man, it's a big problem, and it feels like a big thing. And then you go through those times in your own life and you're like, fuck, it feels like a big thing. But you look at it over time, it's like a graphic equalizer, sometimes you're high, sometimes you're low, whatever. But it always gets better, man. It always gets better. And now I look at it. Back then I used to look at my buddies committing suicide. I'm like, it's their choice. It's like, whatever, if they want to do it. I'm like, I don't agree with it. I miss them. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, it's your choice. But now I look at it a little bit differently as an older man, seeing that it always fucking gets better. Like, it always fucking gets better. And I wish with all those guys I could have told them, like, hey man, like, I know you're going through the fucking shit right now, but I fucking promise you it's going to get fucking better. Because a lot of those dudes, man, like Cal Paulson and John Williams, I'm like, dude, I would have loved to see them. I would love to meet their new wives and, like, see their kids walk around, It's like, so.
Yeah. Well, especially when you hit rock bottom too, you're like, doesn't get any fucking worse than this.
Yep.
So the only way is up.
I felt like I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. I mean, I once in a while now still am like, fuck, I've been at this in this new company for 7 years. And it's like watching somebody grow. Like, if it's your kid, you're like, they're growing a little bit, but Uncle Fester comes in and he's like, oh man, that kid grew a whole foot in a year. You don't notice your own growth as you climb out of it. So you still feel like you're in that dark spot, but it's 1% lighter each day. And I truly believe that. And this is one thing I always appreciate with you, especially over the time I've known you, is being forthcoming about this shit. Because if you can talk about it, you can talk about it, you can talk about it, I can talk about it, somebody watching this is going to be like, those guys are relatively accomplished guys, and they're sitting here having an open conversation about it. The sooner you can do that is the faster you're helping
because everybody
the dude that's
goes
in the
through
dark.
it, man. Everybody goes through it, and like you, in a certain way, like sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's business, sometimes it's life. The only time I ever thought about killing myself was something stupid over a chick that I thought was like so important at the time, And now looking back, I'm like, God, it's such a weak way to look at it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, fuck that. I'll just kill her.
I'm not going to say who it was, but
I kid.
one of our buddies is like, how much did you pay your ex-wife? And I'm like, dude, you should marry her. It'll save me a bunch of money. He goes, fuck that. We're going to take her fishing, and
Yeah, mine was still living down in Mexico, and I get some serious thought of blowing the dust off my trigger finger. There ain't no CSI down there.
But one of the other things, too, is who's around you, right? So,
That's the most important part.
It's so important, right? When I was hanging around people that were like, they're partying, they're doing the Del Mar scene, or they're going doing this, or you're drinking a lot, or whatever, or it's a bunch of bimps that I didn't really care about. They were just hot, so you're like checking a box. There was no like reward or support. And then when I was around the guys that really took an interest, like, Kevin, Andrew. Andrew had some tough times, and I was trying to help him. The first guy to show up was him, and there's very few people on my list. I don't want to say very few, but that if somebody said, "Hey, we're going to Mexico, and we're not coming back," my 2 kids I do it for, my former wife, a couple other friends, I do it for that guy in Bito because I knew 100% he'd do the same thing for me, and I don't have the bond that you guys have because I didn't have the job that you have, but I have a different understanding than I think the normal civilian bro that just blows through life and doesn't even think about it. And some of it's just being immersed in it. But the people you have around are so important. If you're around people that are partying all the time or are making bad financial decisions or whatever else, you're a product of those people.
Yep, you are the sum of who you surround yourself by.
Yeah,
that's very
I
true.
remember there was probably a couple months, man, where I was talking to you, and I actually reached out to Bito and Mo, and was just like, hey, man, I was like, dude, reach out to fucking Nick. I'm like, he seems like he's going through some fucking shit, like, and I knew you'd like, downsize fucking houses several times and shit, and like, but, you're always who you always are. Like, hey, let's go get some fucking steaks this week.
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, it is kind of a weird, like, luckily I haven't had to go through any of this shit because my wife is a fucking saint.
She is.
Like, puts up with all of my bullshit. But it's weird. I've had a ton of friends who've gotten divorced, and you see how it's, I don't guess it ever can be done well, but you see how it can be amicable, even if kids do, or even if, people do and don't have kids. Like, you can see a couple who gets divorced that don't have kids, and they're still, I would say friends, but it's amicable.
Yep.
And then you see the flip side of that, where it's just like fucking, restraining orders and fucking cops called and fucking, and then you add kids in the mix to that shit, and it's just, I mean, you look at that fucking kid and you go, it's like you were saying, you're laying there, you think about what are those kids thinking, man? Like, the kid's laying there at night going, oh, daddy's calling mommy a complete fucking whore or a piece of shit, and like when that shit gets mixed in there, man, it's just, God, it's just so fucking bad. And you hope for the best. You always, like, I had a friend that I met him through one of my wife's friends, and they were married and had kids and stuff, and I just remember they were getting a divorce, and I was just, he was in a bad way, but I was just like, hey, man, like, anything you need, let me know. Like, I hope you never, say any ill or bad shit about her in front of the kids.
Right.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And they were fairly amicable, and it's just one of those things where you see it go, like you're saying, scorched earth, and you're just like, God damn it, dude. You look at those kids and you're like, man, it's...
And when somebody does that to you, your natural reaction is want to do it back even bigger. And it's like, fuck, man, it's just a cyclone, just destruction all for everybody. And then you're so immersed in this fucking hate and anger that you forget who's watching. You
That's
know?
right.
Yeah.
That's 100% it. And all of us go through, quote unquote trauma, right? And people are pretty resilient in recovering from things, from events.
Not anymore.
But, well, that's true. I mean, we're going to talk about that too, right? This fucking sportsmanship award and the softie thing. But, a kid is super resilient. Like, hey, you're going to go through a divorce. My kids, if I look at them now, and you guys were talking about it earlier, would they have been better off in a spectator or a participant in an unhappy marriage? They would have been way worse off. I look at them now; they're confident, internal confidence. Like Carson Palmer's brother, he runs QB Summit. It's he coaches the best quarterbacks on the planet, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. And I'm like, Jordan, what do you think is the difference between somebody that's resilient and not? And he's like, it's internal confidence versus external. External is like, bro, you're in fucking fantastic shape. You got a great business, beautiful wife, da-da-da-da-da. Some of that shit goes away. Do you have the internal confidence to keep moving on, right?
Very true.
And hey, a guy races cars, dude, you succeed or fail on your own, but that's what you do. That's not you, right?
Yeah.
A quarterback in the
Doesn't define
NFL,
you.
You see these kids are 25, 26 years old. There's 80,000 people booing like this fucking Daniel Jones guy that was on the Giants. The fucking Giants sucked, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, you suck, bro. You suck. He goes to Baltimore or Indianapolis now, and the guy's tearing it up. You imagine that young dude, younger than all of us, can't go out. His wife can't go out. His kids can't go to school with somebody saying your dad sucks, right? That internal confidence and breeding that in your kids. Some of the shit that goes wrong, it's good that it happens as long as you're there to show them a path that there's a tomorrow and there's a better day. And hey, don't fucking react, respond, think. It's a Jocko thing, like taking that step back and having that reaction. The quicker you can build that confidence in your kids and make sure that they have good people around them, man, that is the most rewarding thing. Divorce, not divorce, money, no money, the whole thing. But
yeah, well, I'll tell you my experience of this, and let me know if you agree with this or have a different perspective on it. But when we almost lost the whole company probably about 5 years ago now, we were doing just over $7 million in top line revenue. I thought we were doing good. I hired a CFO. I felt like a fucking real grown up entrepreneur.
Fucking G.
I felt like that, right? And we had this space. We had 2 other warehouses, and we had like a pretty fucking baller, like 3,000 square foot office with like glass walls. Like it looked.
I remember that building.
It looked sick, dude. And I felt awesome. I was like, dude, I'm fucking doing all right,
I've arrived.
Yeah, it turns out we were not doing all right. Turns out like we were losing $20,000 to $30,000 a month at the time. I just didn't fucking know it. And so, but by the time we figured out what was wrong and we figured out how to fix it, we knew the solution was to downsize, but I downsized. So from a tactics perspective, if somebody's in that situation where they got to make a change and they know they got to downsize a little bit, where I fucked up is I didn't downsize fast enough. I didn't cut hard enough, quick enough. I was like, oh, maybe we don't need to let too many people go. Maybe we don't need to let all the spaces go. And I just trickled. And what happened is it didn't work. I just bled and bled and bled. And it took us fucking way longer to start to get on the path to recovery. Whereas looking back now, we had 24 people on staff. Now we have 5, and we had 4 locations, and now we have 1. And like our payroll is over $1 million a year at the time, and we were making no fucking money. And now we had 60% drop in top line revenue. So last year we're just around 3 combined, but we're actually profitable now. Like we're doing okay. And it's like, fuck, man, if I would have made the cuts that I eventually got to immediately, like we would have been fucking set within 6 to 9 months, but instead it took us fucking 2 years to get back to where we're, because I was too afraid of like.
You think some of that was like ego driven, or
totally,
you think it's just?
I was like, oh, what do people think? I talk about entrepreneurship, but I'm fucking failing my own business, and I got all this shit. What do people think if I downsize? But nobody fucking cares, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking at your shit. Like people are too concerned with their own lives, their own stuff, and
so true.
Yeah, I should have just cut hard, cut fast.
100%.
So if anybody's in that position where you're in that catalyst moment of like, hey, decision time, and you know you're going to have to make a cut fucking hard, cut fast, cut fucking deep as fuck. It's going to hurt, but it's going to hurt for a lot shorter time.
Like zeroing a
period.
rifle, man. Like make those bold adjustments, and then
then
you can always creep it back in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's way faster.
Let
in the long
10
run.
motherfuckers go, and then go, well, shit, man. I'm going to hire 2 of those guys back.
That's right. You're spot on. I did it fucked it up personally and professionally. So personally, I'm living in this 12,000 square foot house. It's one dude, right? My downsize is go to a 9,000 square foot house, tear the thing down to the studs, redo the thing, right? Like, I mean,
dude, I remember you redid that entire like entertainment center in that house at the Bridges, dude.
300-inch TVs.
Dude,
I mean,
dang.
you know, yeah. I mean, it had pool tables with a race number on it and all that, and I could afford it at the time. And I'm like, hey, you know, I'm optimistic, and one of the things all entrepreneurs are is you're optimistic. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, what I should have done is been like, you know what? I'm cutting all this shit way back in the history of all men. And I mean the billions of men that have walked the planet. Not one dude has ever said, ever, and people should make note of this, I should have waited 5 more years to break up with that chick or get divorced. Ever. Nobody's ever said, man, I should have sold that car 5 years later. Like, it fucking doesn't happen. Like, get rid of the shit, especially if it's material shit. Get rid of it. Mm-hmm. You can always reacquire it. And once you get a business or your mind, your finances, going back to the 4 things you got to be healthy at, in check, you go back and rebuild. But I waited way too long, and then you dig yourself this fucking hole you got to get out of.
So much harder.
And then you got to drag the mental thing of what the fuck was I thinking for the next 30 years. And you got to be able to forgive yourself when you fuck up too, whether it's marriage, business, whatever. But man, I waited too long on everything. And hey, you know what? Now I've learned. And at 57, you know, there's the little bits of wisdom. But, dude, am I going to preach this shit to my kids? They've observed it. You can put the seed in there, but they got to figure it out, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can only tell somebody so much, man. Like, I heard so much good advice, and I never took most of it. I'm like, I'm different. I'll figure it out. Oh, God. So stupid.
That shit reminds me of that movie Goodfellas when fucking Henry Hill gets out of prison. He's like, sees the house. He's like, pack your shit. We're moving. And then the next thing you see, the chick is like, you know, oh, we had this guy. You should have seen the sofa. You couldn't even sit down on it. You're like, Jesus. So they're just spending money like this shit's going out of style again, you know? It's just like, oh, man, you got to make some hard cuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That begs the next question, and I think there is a number, and let me know, but at what point of income do you think that people start to become jaded, right? You have your millionaires, you have your really millionaires, and then you have your billionaires. And me having worked for a bunch of millionaires and a couple of billionaires in the past, I feel like there is like a number to where like you start becoming jaded and you just start buying dumb shit you don't need, and you start going into a 12,000 square foot house. Like, do you think that there is like a metric of like annual revenue to where it's like after that you kind of start turning into a dick?
Yeah. I think when you get to a point where you are spending more time or effort figuring out how to spend money than make money. So, you know, when I'm at work and I'm grinding it out and I'm worried about my kids, I'm worried about work, that usurps me. Hey, I'm going to go on the fucking Porsche configurator and figure out how I can, you know, build a Porsche Turbo up to $468,000, and it's going to have the same, you know, color seatbelts as my girlfriend's toenail polish. That's the point that you're fucked, right? So, but you know, and everybody's different. Like, I always had the numbers like, hey, you got to get to this amount, so I got a passive income of so much. Right. But the key is like, think about when we were all young and all of us had made money. When you put that money away and you look at now, even if the stock market's, you know, 8-10% year in year, my parents would say, save your money, save your money, save your money. I'm like, oh, it's always going to make more money. You can't make more time, and the time is making you more money. Yeah. But I think there's a point where when you're dopamine buying, you're buying shit to do versus going and doing things, you know, to make yourself or other people better. That's where I think the point is where you start getting jaded, and the buying thing is buying for the sake of buying, not because, hey, I really want to buy my kid a safe car, so I'm going to buy him a new Tacoma for, you know, whatever. That's one thing. Yeah. But you go and you're like, you know, I've got some friends, you know, billionaire friends. They're not necessarily super happy guys,
no,
right?
And that's why I think, like, there is a metric on it, right? Like, as long as, you know, you have a comfortable house, you're not stressed about money, you can go out to dinner, you can, you know, take a couple vacations a year, like, flying first class, like, that's kind of, I always tell my wife, like, that's my metric. The second I can fucking fly first class across the country is, like, the second one I know, like, I paid $4,000 for a flight where I could have paid $400 for a flight.
Dude, that's a big metric, though, because, dude, like in, like, SAG, like being part of SAG and they fly you across the country. You know, it's like it's in the contract.
Yeah,
fly you business. But there's been times where, you know, I had Catherine Humphreys was my manager, and she's negotiating all my fucking deals, and she's like, "Oh, and business class travel," and they're like, "Damn it!" Like, fuck. Because you know, it's like, "Hey, you're flying me. Yeah, you're flying me from, you know, San Diego to fucking Budapest or San Diego to fucking Croatia."
I'm not in coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I mean, dude, that's kind of a big deal, man. Like, flying fucking 8 hours and you're sitting in fucking coach between
totally
it's a
agree
huge
with
deal,
that.
man. It's like enjoying your time, and then you get the refresh. And
You're nice and rested. You're ready to jump in.
Yeah, totally different.
Exactly.
The sweet spots before you get into that spending for the sake of spending or trying to impress others with it, and the point where you're relaxed in your finances, where you're not worried about making
Next
payments
year.
or hey, the economy goes down a little bit or the market has a bad day, and you're like, oh fuck, right? And
Paycheck to
you're
paycheck,
paycheck to
dude.
paycheck, and that's tough.
So what's that Goldilocks zone? What do you think? I heard the number is 8. I've had 2 people tell me 800,000 to like 400 was the other answer.
for annual income?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you live, right?
Right.
Some of that's it, but that's probably a reasonable thing. Like, I think, you know, depending on your age and if you have kids and things like that, it's, you know, if you're making whatever 50 grand a month after tax, and you know, now you can fly first class, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna go buy a couple of cars. You can have, you know, your vacations and shit like that, and you're not worried about it. But to me, I look at it as what's the fastest way to get to passive income that's thrown off that money,
Yeah.
because that's really when you're in a position where you can relax. And you know, but part of that and that mental relaxing to me is, do you have a purpose? Because I'll get these guys that are they have fucking boatloads of money and they're total knuckle draggers. I'm like, dude, and they don't have a purpose. And I think we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and you guys will talk to this much more than I will. But when I stopped auto racing, I lost kind of my identity. I lost a bunch of the guys that I was hanging around with. I didn't want to go back to the track because now I was the Klingon old dude that was showing back up, right? But the transition out of like the teams, you guys go from, I got a mission.
0 to 0.
I'm around dudes that are fucking ultra high performers that I trust with my life, that think like me. I call a fucking $2.5 billion bomber in to drop a piece of metal that's going really fast to fuck those guys up. And I'm doing it for my buddies, my country, and my family.
And
right?
it's fun.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And then you get out and it's like, all right, what's my mission? I don't have limitless fucking resources. The dudes I'm around are fucking douchebags because they're either intimidated by me or they want to put me at the kids' table because I haven't had the time to absorb the business thing yet. And that's where I think, from my observation as a non-military dude that's been around military people, and my best friends are in this space, is that's where guys get lost, is that lack of purpose. And that happens after a divorce, especially if it's not your choice, if your finances change, if people's kids move away, if they get retired, but mainly if you're an NFL dude and you get out.
Yeah.
Dude,
Now what are you?
What are you?
Right.
So how did you guys deal with that?
Well, I mean, that's one of the, I've said this before, right? And a lot of the guys that join the military leave, you know, bumfuck Oklahoma, you know, and they're looking for a new life, looking for a GI Bill, looking to travel the country, looking to shoot machine guns. But when they get out, they go back to the same spot. So now you lose all of your identity, but now you're back in the same shithole that hasn't fucking changed in 20 years. And so hence the veteran suicide epidemic and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that goes back to that whole internal, external confidence as well, because, I mean, I can see, like, for me, when I punched out and I started kind of working for Harry, I could see why Harry kind of clung to some of the film industry stuff, which that was his full identity, but I think he kind of found that as a second career later in life. But being around dudes that are very like-minded, you're around all these stunt dudes, you're around filmmakers, you're around dudes who are doing a lot of the same shit that we not necessarily did in the team, who weren't, you know, like shooting machine guns and shit, but you have a lot of adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people with very outgoing personalities, A-type personalities, versus you see, you know, team guys that, and like for me, when I punched out of the teams, I'm like, dude, I want to make a clean break. I don't want to be the guy that's like you're saying, clinging on, fucking, I'm gonna go get a GS job and work at Group 1 and be the fucking, you know, that's great for some people, and I think a lot of guys excel at that. You have guys that get out as an E9 after 20, 30 years and continue on with a GS billet or doing whatever they've been doing and get a second retirement. And they still, a lot of those guys still kind of maintain that presence within the community. But then you have, there's been other guys that have made that clean break, and now, like you're saying, it's like, dude, I was a fucking team guy for 30 years, and then I was with group for another 20 years. Like, that's your entire identity.
Who are you without that?
You're and you get out, and guys are like, fuck, man, now what am I going to do? And I'm sure it happens with Army. I'm sure it happens with Marine Corps. I'm sure it happens with Air Force.
For sure.
So
it's probably tougher to do the longer you're in, too.
For sure.
I got out at 10, and I think that was a good time where it was definitely time for me to leave, man. And I just created a new identity because I always look at it like the team guy thing is cool, but I never let it define me. I always say, like, I want Navy SEAL to be a footnote on my tombstone, not the fucking headline. I want to do other shit. So I've always been trying to progress myself in whatever capacity. And so when I got out, I just created a new identity for myself as entrepreneur. And that worked because I was what I thought good at it for a while, but it was just small shit, it's 6-figure stuff, like low 7-figure stuff. But it wasn't until I got bigger and got my fucking dick stomped that I'm like, oh wow. And then I had to re-question that whole thing. It's like when we almost lost the whole company, like, fuck, who am I to talk about entrepreneurship? I almost ran my whole company in the ground. Like, what the fuck? And then I realized I read a bunch of these books by other, Phil Knight from Nike, Bezos, Musk, all these guys, and I realized that every single one of them, like Walmart guy, like every single one of them has a story about almost going out of business, like multiple times.
Especially Apple.
Yeah, and I realized, like, oh, that's just part of the fucking journey. It helped me feel better about, like, oh, it's not a failure on my part. It is a failure on my part, but that's also just part of the process. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Only a failure if you don't get back up and continue on.
Exactly. And a little note on this too, and I'd like your perspective on this because I feel like I know a lot of people, like the 6 to 7 million range in a business is super fucking dangerous. Yeah. I know 3 or 4 dudes that got to that level and had major fucking problems, myself included. One dude lost his whole company. One guy almost lost the whole company, same as me, had to downsize massively. And I think it's because that's about the point where you start to hire people and you get a little bit disassociated with you're not big enough where you can hire somebody that's like multiple 6 figures and you're like, they're really, really fucking good. Yeah. They're like, you're hiring them for, whatever, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, something like that. And they're good, but they're not as capable as you are. And you let off the reins and there's that gap of competency where they're not as good as you and they start to fuck shit up, but you're not in it as much, so you're not aware of it, and shit starts to get fucked up around that range really bad. I know for me that was definitely the case, and then I talked to my other buddies that had the same problems, the same rate, and that's exactly what happened to them.
Yeah, it's totally true. We get in that $6 to $10 million range, and when you're pre-$6 million, you're doing work. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, you might be running all the marketing, you might be running all the sales, and there's some bros that are doing content and posting shit and going through that, or sales. Hey, what's this going to look like?
You're the one pulling the levers and turning the dials,
exactly.
Though. You're on top of it.
You're on top of it, and you're looking at everything, and then all of a sudden you start bringing people in, and you're like, oh, fuck, dude, I've been cranking at this for 5 years. Thank God this guy's here. And you're like, you go do that. And like, fucking water's pouring in the boat and the bilge pumps off and you're up, fucking drinking tea on the fucking deck. And it's like, why is the boat sinking? And you're like, oh, because that fucking guy's down there like, it's like, come on, dude, what the fuck? And that goes back to, because we're optimists, when you bring that dude in, you think he's going to be able to get it done. And it's selecting the right person, curating the right person. But what do I need to do in my own checks and balances? So like my infomercial company, we got it to like 60, 70 million bucks a year. We only had 8 employees. We outsourced everyone. Because guess what? Employees fucking suck for the most part, right? Like, I love my employees, but the reality is,
well, they don't have as much invested as you do.
They don't.
Coming in going, you're paying me fucking $25 an hour, or $20 an hour, whatever the fuck it was.
They leave and they go somewhere else, where if it's a vendor and you're paying them a chunk, or they think that you're going to grow, and they know there's 40 other companies that do that. They're going to be on point. Now, you got to do the right thing in terms of selecting them, having a good relationship with that person, because all this shit comes down to relationships. I mean, people may or may not like Tom Brady, but like in the football space, he's like, football's about relationship. Everything is, right? And that component of it and that point, that $6 to $10 million bucks, now, once you get to 10 or 12, now you can start bringing real people in with real backgrounds, and they know what they're doing. And now you're giving them a stock package, so they don't want to fuck it up because, hey, I didn't have to put money in, and now I can go and make some money. And now you're flying the jet, autopilot, but you're making sure everybody's happy, things are moving, and you can now start building culture and look at merger and acquisition opportunities, or where can I pluck people that in their career that can augment this. And then the other piece I think is critical. Don't build an org chart and then plug people into the org chart. Go find people that can do generally what you want to do and build the org chart around the people, because you're a unique dude. You're a unique dude. If I go and I'm like, I want a director of sales and I'm going to pay him this, I'm putting all these boxes. Well, how the fuck am I going to find that perfect dude versus bringing somebody in that this guy's going to kick ass in sales? I'm going to forego something here. I'm going to do that other job myself to use some of that cake for this guy. And I'm going to create a position for him. And I don't give a shit if the guy's title is the director of chaos or whatever it can be. It doesn't matter, right?
I want that title.
Professor Chaos.
No, that is sage advice, man. Like, absolutely sage advice. Hands down.
Yeah, it makes sense, man.
One other quick thing when we're talking about getting through conflict, now that we've gone through the misery part of the conversation of all the problems we've all had, and we're all sitting here laughing and sipping fucking cocktails in the middle of the day.
On a fucking Wednesday.
On a Wednesday, right? Fucking smoke I can see in the background from my company, because the place on fire out there. But keeping yourself busy until you get your feet back under you, right? Dude, when you sit around in your fucking place by yourself, or you're sipping booze, or you get home at 7 o'clock and you're like, fuck, go to the gym, go for a walk, listen to a podcast, go take a fucking boxing class. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but go and do shit, and then be around people that are positive. And fucking drinking is probably the worst thing you can do when you're feeling shitty, because it just magnifies that, right?
Exacerbate it.
Yeah. I mean, when I was going
Unless you drink with a bunch of other people.
That's true. We could just all stay here. All our problems will be solved, right? So, when I was getting divorced, I go through, I'm doing the race thing, da-da-da-da-da. But these guys are going and doing this thing in New Mexico. They're serving warrants. And, it's a bunch of retired team guys and some MARSOC guys. Who else was mixed in with that?
Oh, fuck it. Pretty much anybody that wanted, well, I wouldn't say anybody that wanted a badge, but, I mean, you could vouch for a guy, and I mean, Will was pretty much on board. Like,
I remember
as long as the guy's not just a complete fucking dunce. But I mean, I remember several times we'd go out there to do a qual, and we're out there, and they're like bringing this one fucking guy. I don't remember who the fuck he was. I don't think he had been deputized yet, and I thought they just brought him out there, and dude, we go to shoot this fucking qual, and guys, like, he has no fucking holster, he has no fucking mag pouches, He's like loading this fucking M&P shield.
I remember that thing.
He's got like a 10-round magazine. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what? And I mean, it's not like
go through this thing with you?
What's that?
Did Art Espinosa go through this with you?
Yeah.
Dude, place was just filled with fucking character. So we're at my house, and he's like, hey, there's no civilian dudes doing this, but I think I can get you in. Do you want to go do this thing? It's like, in New Mexico, we can do some stuff with the U.S. Marshal Service, and we need somebody that can fucking drive if somebody gets nicked to get us to the hospital, because the chopper thing's going to take too long. And I'm like,
well, plus you had that sheriff's thing in your hip pocket too, so you were already LE.
Yeah, and I could not shoot like you guys, but I could shoot. So the first fucking day
At least
I get
you had
there,
a holster.
I was a little better prepared. Not much more than that, though.
So I had a 20-round FN57.
Yeah, exactly. So this fucking guy's like, okay, we're going to New Mexico. We got to go do this state trooper or state police qual, shooting rifle,
DOJ
pistol,
qual.
whatever. And they're like, don't worry about it. You'll get through it. And, he shot with me a couple times at the range where you're just articulating the weapon. I'm like, okay, I was a little nervous about it. So then he's like, yeah, dude, I can't make it. You got to fucking go on your own. So I get there, and they're like, go to the 7-Eleven. I'm there, and there's a bunch of dudes in, like, black polos and, like, khaki pants. I'm like, and they're like, yep, you're with us. And you're like, yeah, dude, you're the only one that's not a, fucking team guy or MARSEC guy or SF guy that's going through this shit. I'm like, great. So the guy takes me to do the shooting qual, and the fucking sheriff pulls up and says, listen, this chick murdered this other chick. We're going to hit 3 homes. We don't know where she is, but we need you 2 guys to go to one of the places. And I'm like, well, what's a, quick spin up? I haven't even fucking shot a shot in front of the guy.
Cooney's like, oh, big gulps, eh? It's 7-Eleven.
I got no handcuffs, no zip ties, no pepper spray, fucking Zippo, right? I mean, I get off the plane, I pull my shit out of the suitcase. The pistol that I just grabbed is the one that I've got. So I got a 5.7 to go to this house. And he's all kitted up. He's got the big wad of chew in his fucking mouth and the fucking gator glasses. And we walk up and I'm like, are you not concerned that we're maybe 150 yards from the house and the fucking girl just killed somebody that maybe like we're out in the open? He goes, it'll be fine. He goes, let's just stay apart in case. I'm like, hey, good idea.
Like, you got armor, right? Like, nope.
No, I'm in a fucking
Don't stand
polo,
behind me.
right? The fucking door opens and like 3 pit bulls come running out. And now I'm like, dude, this is a fucking bad movie. So they're running out at us and he's just smiling. And I'm like, dude. And he's like smiling. And it was like a movie. I'm like, dude. Start pulling my firearm out. I'm like, this is not going to be good. And he pulls this fucking bag of beef jerky out that's like this fucking big. It's like a fucking pillow. Like, where was that thing? And he throws the thing like he's throwing fucking food out of the UN helicopter in Somalia. Like, the fucking dogs run to that stuff. They're grabbing it. He's scratching their tummies. He's, whatever. He goes, go get her. And I walk up and the fucking chick comes out and stops. And, that was the start of it. But so then this fucker shows up, and I mean, now I'm there like 3 days, and I went back, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 times, but we go to pick him up at the airport, and we're switching cars or something, and it's big Suburban, and it was you and Bito, actually.
Yeah.
So we get in this thing, and it's a police Suburban, but it's unmarked, and there's this, the fucking wheel and light shit is in front of me. So we go, and she's like, the parking for this thing is like $458. He goes, $458? This is a fucking police car. She's like, no, it's not. So, of course, I'm going to be the smart new guy. I fucking flip the thing up, and she's like, oh, my God, turn that off. Well, I go to turn it off. When I turn it off, the fucking plug pops off the back. We can't fucking shut it off. Like, I mean, So
official police business.
Exactly. So I fucking figure out how to put the thing in the back, and now we're all sweating, right? We're driving, and we're like a million miles from where we're actually
fucking
going.
Super troopers.
So we're like, dude, like, let's just stop at this fucking casino. Now, we're assholes, right? So right in the front, it says police vehicles only. Well, this was kind of a police vehicle. So we just fucking pull up, go into the fucking casino.
LAPD!
Yeah. And he goes to the bar and is, sucking down booze, and Andrew and I are playing blackjack, and we end up making him open the restaurant. We eat food, and, off we go.
That was good.
Crazy.
That was a good time. Yeah, we flew into Albuquerque, which is like 3-4 hours from fucking Roswell or some shit.
Yeah.
Well, we had to fly in there because Will's like, hey, I got this vehicle I need you to pick up at the airport. And we're like, God damn it.
The first time.
Which worked out good. But normally if you just fly into Roswell, it's like way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
On a Janet flight.
You guys want to take a quick break?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're back from the break. Oh, by the way, we have a Patreon. Hopefully by the time this airs, we'll actually be up and running. So we do record all the break stuff because there's actually some pretty cool conversations that happen on the break. So if you want to go on our Patreon, you have access to all the conversations on the break, which are sometimes pretty fucking cool.
You're not going to edit out the penis enlargement kit he's ordered, right?
It's up there. The Darth Invader. You see that thing?
His surgery.
Jesus.
We're going to get an affiliate code.
I got a story about that, too.
Jesus.
Actually, let's caveat into that.
Well, we were going to go into that one story about when we were actually in New Mexico. We're serving that fucking warrant. And I've touched on the subject before where, Will was like, nobody was fucking going out doing their reserve time, and this was pre pandemic, but nobody was going out doing their shit, and finally Will put the fucking gauntlet down. It was like, hey man, like if you don't get your shit before the end of the year, I'm suspending everybody's fucking HR 218, and there were guys like depending on that shit to like work elsewhere,
jobs,
or at
yeah.
least be able to carry. I mean, I would carry in California because I didn't have couldn't get a fucking CCW here. But I just remember there was a bunch of motherfuckers. It might have been that same trip where we drove that vehicle down from Albuquerque, that black Suburban, and
oh, that's right. Yep.
And so
I think so.
Yeah, because we roll in, lights are fucking blazing, and there was every fucking department
U.S.
known to
Marshal,
man.
State Police,
Yeah.
Roswell, SED, the local.
This is for a warrant, or
Yeah.
what was it for?
Yeah, the dude had
shit.
murdered somebody, and we're rolling into this house, and so we all meet at the hotel, and they go through the plan on what vehicles. As we roll into this thing, they're like the neighborhood could be hostile, so it's possible that people around in the other homes start taking pot shots. So
Wow.
they had somebody drive by, and and two fake homeless guys walk by and make notes on where everything was, and they're like, these guys probably have AKs, they have this, they have this, they have this, and they're like, Esayian and Kent, you're at the fucking front door where the vehicle is, and I'm like, dude, like I'm the fucking driver. If somebody gets nicked, I'm at the front, right? So he's like, don't worry about anything, it'll be fine. And I remember in the classes here, it's like, dude, stay behind the engine block or stay, fuel tank might help you out a little bit. I'm like, all right. So we come rolling in there.
It's not like the movies. It's not going to fucking explode.
Yeah, it's not going to explode. But we had a couple of guys, I think they were Steve Wynn's guys, and, I'm not used to somebody holding my belt, mirroring me, facing the opposite way. So some of this shit is new to me, but of course I'm not going to say that. I'm like, oh, thanks for grabbing my belt. And there's fucking windows all over the front of this house. Well, the state police guys roll up, and they're all fucking like, dialed up here is perfect. And they call the wrong address to begin with. So now the fucking bad dudes in the house know we're there, and these poor people are coming out, and I'm like, that fucking cat moves. They heard it. Cat jumps down. The people are coming. I'm going back inside, and they're fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
And we're sitting behind the car, and all of a sudden you can hear this ting, 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 like metal on metal. And he looks at me. He goes, dude, if this fucking guy comes out with a gun, he goes, move fucking forward. He goes, because we don't want that bitch to shoot us in the back of the head. And I turn around, and the SED, the lady in SED, was so nervous, her ring in her hand was shaking.
No.
Yeah.
We're like, man, we're going to get shot in the fucking back by our own fucking
By her,
people.
yeah. And
We
right
move
as
up
this
in
happens,
front of the vehicle. We're
Yep.
like,
Next
put
you
the
want
vehicle
to
behind us.
Trump's
we're
security
worried about,
detail.
worried about the dudes coming out. Now we're worried about fucking her. We're worried about people in the fucking neighborhood shooting us. The people next door are fucking freaked out. And right as this happens, and I'm thinking to myself, like, these guys are like calm, like, oh, this is fucking nothing. I'm like, holy fuck. I hear, on the roof, on the roof, on the roof, and, get up on the roof. And it's the first fucking time I've done anything with Bito. I just meet him, right? He's on the fucking roof, and like that wasn't in the plan. So anyway, the entry
He's
guys
got
go in.
isolation and containment. He's like, there's like all this trash and bullshit in the backyard with like tarps and shit thrown on. So he's holding on all that shit. Well, his back is exposed to all the fuckers in the front.
Yep.
So they're going, there's somebody on the roof. Everybody's just like, calm down. That's our guys. And like, dude, we're just like, it's still a miracle nobody fucking got shot.
So we get done, though, and we're going to go to another place, serve another warrant, and we go to this funeral home, and we're sitting outside.
Wait, what was he doing on the roof, though?
Here's where the story comes in. So the guy's like, hey, that went off pretty well. We rolled in there, and of course, the dude wasn't there. So they're watching amputee porn
That's
inside.
the place where we found the fucking amputee
Oh,
porn.
yeah, you did tell that
and the
story.
kids are in the fucking place,
Oh
and they're
my
watching
God.
amputee porn.
What?
So we're sitting outside, and the guy's
was
like, "Hey,
fucked.
everybody worked pretty well together. You guys rolled in. We did this, all the good thing." And he goes, "Who the fuck was on the roof?" And Bito's like, "I was, sir." And he goes, "What the fuck were you doing there?" He goes, "Well, you dumbasses are going to be shooting through this fucking, tar paper building." He goes, "I was just going to jump down and stab that motherfucker." and these guys are all laughing, and I'm like, so
He wasn't kidding.
the guy's
dude.
like, excuse me. And he goes, come up here a second. He goes, you understand? He goes, there's no fucking stabbing here. And he goes, I want you to say it with me now. He goes, no stabbing. He goes, now everyone. There's like 30 dudes. We're all kitted up. We're all like, no stabbing. He goes, onward, on to the next fucking
Vito's
place.
like putting his knife away. I'm like,
Damn it.
I thought the night was over, and we end up some officer in distress, and we happen to be there, and we're really not even supposed to be there. And they're like, dude, you and Bito are the closest fucking guys, and I think you were there.
Yeah.
And we roll up, and these two local schmokel cops had gotten their asses beat by this dude who had beat his wife up badly. Like, her face was so swollen you couldn't see her eyes. And we get there.
I just thought she was Asian. I'm just kidding.
We run in this house, and the floor is like fucking ice slippery.
Yeah.
And, we get the guy, lasso him up, whatever. It's fucking animal shit all over the floor.
That's who you got the
dude.
slipper on?
Yeah,
What
not
the
like
fuck?
a little bit of it.
Dude,
And
there was dog shit everywhere.
everywhere.
What the fuck?
Inside the microwave. So we're looking for the gun that this guy supposedly had. And they're like, hey, you guys are here now. You're going through this, plastic gloves on. Like, I opened the microwave, and the inside of the microwave is moving. Maggots from all the fucking rotten meat and shit in there.
What the fuck?
Dude, we go in the garage, and there's like a
The fucking Range Rover in there.
and it's a pretty new one, like black on black. And he's like, oh, jackpot. We walk out there, and the windows are down. Dude, I shit you not, there was at least 2,000 fucking things of fingernail polish. The chick was like, had this crazy nutty thing with fingernail polish. Every different color was in there. And then the dude was sticking diapers in there. Dirty diapers.
Dirty diapers and trash bags,
Yeah.
dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it
How
was-
do people fucking
Isn't
live
it nuts
like
how people
that?
live?
Dude,
it was the best
it
fucking
was the worst
lesson.
hoarder episode ever.
And we're worried about being good parents. Not
I know.
kids.
Dude, the animal
We're
shit.
doing okay.
There was so much animal shit on the floor. Then he goes into the kids' room, and I shit you not, there's a fucking baby's bed about this big. There's no sheet on it, and he lifts it up, and there's a knife like this big between the mattress and the
Dude.
box spring.
The fucking maggots were what got me, dude.
Yeah.
And like, people are like, hey, did you guys check the garage? And you like start smelling like dirty diapers. You like open up a trash bag full of dirty diapers, and like the diapers are moving. You're all like, whoa. Like, did you find a gun out there? Like, no, man, but I'm not fucking. I'm volunteering for this shit, and this does not pay enough for me to sift through maggot infested dirty diapers.
Oh my
Range
God.
Rover or not.
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting, dude.
That was an interesting chapter. I mean, it was fun, and going back to hanging around with good guys. Like, I got to know Mo pretty good, and Bito. But the guys that were going in and out of there, like, we had a pretty good time. Like, 3/4 of the time you go and fucking do nothing. You'd lay on top of the shipping container and shoot for like 6 hours. Like, there was enough ammunition there to like arm.
Call in a bunch of coyotes, like shoot coyotes off the fucking top of their fucking Connex boxes, and
Go
yeah.
and eat.
Yeah, they had a metric fuck ton of ammo. You could like outfit a small army, which is cool.
There was a shipping container that was almost all 5.7 ammo. Like, how much is that fucking worth?
Who was shooting 5.7s out there
Nick.
except for you? What else shoots 5.7s? Doesn't the MP7 shoot 5.7?
No,
What-
4.6.
What was that
4.6.
little? There was a little rifle too that somebody was not a Chris. I can't remember what it was called. That shoots a 5.7.
yeah, it's like a
What's that entry weapon?
MP90?
P90S.
Yeah, where like the rounds are like
Yeah, they're
sideways.
sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that maybe that was a 5.7
Yeah.
or some
If you want to
shit.
sell that 5.7 pistol, let me know.
Oh, I got 2 of them. They're fucking fantastic. I mean, there's like
Oh,
no
you don't need
recoil.
2. I'll
You
take
get
one
a
off your
30
hands.
round magazine for it, and comes with 20s.
It goes through
it's
soft armor and
California,
everything.
of course. Yeah. I mean, and then there's 3 or 4 different types of ammo, but I think that velocity is like 2,000 feet per second for a fucking pistol. But
Yeah,
the
it goes through
round
all
is
soft armor.
tiny. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. All composite. The barrel, obviously, is the only thing, a couple little mechanical pieces.
They're
on the
ugly,
inside.
but fuck, they're sick. I mean,
Well,
you
dude,
could shoot
yeah.
200 yards with that pistol.
That's
Yeah.
what that one shithead had in that Fort Hood shooting. He had 2 of
Is
those.
it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? So you guys know Tom Dietz. So Tom and I had come up with this idea. Was after one of these fucking nut jobs shot up a school, and I'm like, hey, there's like 26,000 retired special operations dudes from all parts of the service. The country's invested so much money in these guys. They get out. Let's give them a purpose and use them as security in schools. They could teach a leadership class. They could be an assistant coach. But, hey, nobody better to know that, hey, that door's supposed to be locked. That's not supposed to be locked. Who's out of order here? What kids are causing trouble? What are the parental situation? And we went to a public school and a private school here. And the public school was a little bit more likely to do it, but there was so much red tape we couldn't get it done. But, that's a thing for fucking Trump to, hey, because you can pay guys to do that. And there's not a single parent that wouldn't pay some sort of surcharge to have the best guys that know how to shoot while there's a shit ton of people floating around to do that.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a way to get that knocked out.
I
What do
think
you
there
guys
should
think?
be government funding.
Yeah.
You know, I think the federal government should do that. And, like, it's unfortunate that we even have to do that. But hands down, I mean, given those
but
guys...
as shitty as it is, I mean, everybody bitches all the time. Like, oh, my God, like, another school shooting. We got to get rid of all the guns. You're like, you're never going to get rid of all the fucking guns.
Yeah.
No, it's not
But,
the solution.
It's
I
not
mean,
realistic.
start fucking protecting these goddamn schools like we protect banks and federal buildings and airports.
Jewelry
and fucking,
stores.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, it's kind of a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
think
if you
about-
have, instead of putting a fucking sign up that says gun-free zone, like people would be
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
all
right.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, murder's illegal too, and it goes on all the time. But even the amount of info when the police get there, like if you have civilians, they can't describe what the fuck is going on. Where if you've got people there that know what information to communicate, as well as nobody's fleeing, like that Uvalde. I mean, I wasn't there, but.
Yeah.
Those guys didn't press in, and those little kids were in that fucking room by themselves. I mean, that's one of those things that just grinds you. And the Borstar guy showed up and dumped the guy, but this shit's happening way too frequently.
Yeah.
And like this Charlie Kirk thing, I didn't agree with everything he said. I agree with a lot of what he said, but dude, I'd find it challenging to believe that a dude gets shot in the neck with a 30-06, and that was the damage. I'm not a conspiracy guy. Obviously, it wasn't some crazy guy, standing around. But
well, dude, nobody else fucking died either.
yeah,
Like they're saying, like I've heard every argument about it. Like, I mean, that the fucking round that hit his neck was like a ricochet off of something else, and then I've heard that he wasn't shot from, like if he's facing 12, like they're saying the shot came from like 2 o'clock or some shit that went this way. But then they're saying there's another, they're pointing at some shit that was from like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock that went this way.
The amount of conspiracy theories around the shooting is so fucking crazy.
It is.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Like the guy's jumping off the roof and you can't fit the rifle in the bag. I'm like, there's definitely some shit like that's not adding up. I'm like, bro, there's a lot of question marks around it. But the shooting itself is, I mean, he very obviously got shot in the neck.
Yep.
And so obviously 30-06 is a pretty powerful round. It's going to fuck you up. But also something that people don't consider, I think, and I don't know what the fucking truth is, but I think it's pretty obvious that like a lot of these conspiracy theories would be so much fucking harder to actually pull off than some fucking crazy dude, some crazy leftist shot him.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't consider is that that's a shitty old rifle that he got from his grandpa.
Yeah.
Imagine where the fucking ammo came from, dude.
Yeah.
Probably 40-year-old ammo. Who knows what its condition is? It might not have been. It might have been. I don't know.
Yeah,
moldy
that's
powder or
totally
whatever.
true.
Sometimes a little luck involved.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it might not have been. I'm sure he didn't go and get like new rounds. He probably got.
And I'm
old
sure the
fucking
motherfucker
rounds.
wasn't aiming for his neck either.
No.
Yeah,
That
he just
was like
missed because he didn't, he's
Exactly.
not taken into consideration. The guy's obviously not trained. He's shot at the range and, 200-yard shot. You take somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and, he wasn't that far off. But if you just, what the drop is for that distance, that's where he probably
in an
popped it.
elevated position.
Well, in our little Liberty Risk group thread, we're going in there because I've gone down this fucking wormhole. And, I'm going to admit my opinions, but this shit's not checking out.
Yeah,
certain
but
things.
the shooting itself is, I think, pretty straightforward, though.
But a 30-06 or a 308 in the neck.
No exit wound is my only thing is that,
That's
even
pretty
if your
strange,
spine
yeah.
catches it, it's going to tear through that thing like.
Yeah, your fucking head's going to snap. I mean, the level of kinetic energy that one of those things is going to draw.
Yeah.
Now,
I'd
the
be
thing.
curious about the ammo because they have the ammo that he engraved. I'm like, what? Well, you can fucking test that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, who the fuck engraves their ammo? Like,
Weirdo.
we used to rub our shit in...
Crazy leftist.
It happened again today when they shot up that ice facility. They killed.
Was that today?
Yeah, dude killed himself.
Yeah. And then, and it looked like they're
That
either
killed
in
three fucking detainees. They didn't even fucking
shooting at a van, and saying
random
they're going
fucking
after
van in,
ice.
like,
Today?
What?
Yeah.
Texas?
No shit.
Dallas?
I think in Texas, yeah.
Somewhere in Texas.
Wow.
But it almost looked like, the speed loader thing, and then again the ammunition was etched. But like this craziness is, I'm an Armenian dude, right? My grandparents went through the whole 1.5 million Armenians getting killed because they were a Christian. Like, I got no place else to go but here. And, the United States still it's not perfect by any means, but it's way better than any place else.
It's as good as it gets.
It's
Yeah.
as good as it gets. And, but this whole thing that the Charlie Kirk thing, I mean, obviously it's horrible to see that. And most people will never see somebody get shot like that. When that video is floating around, get hit in the carotid artery, his kids were there, his wife were there, all those people are there. It's horrible this guy lost his life. Whether you like what he had to say or not, he at least engaged people in dialogue. And, he loses patience with people as anybody would. But for me, the thing was, it was horrible to see that, but it almost felt like an attack on everybody that thinks like that, and
it was
not to do anything about it. And
it
if you would change some of the sides of it right to left, and that was like a left wing person there, and they had gotten dinged, and it was one of us or somebody that looked like one of us or thought like one of us, the country would be on fire. And what bothers me is that this is just allowed to pass, and not that anybody should go and do anything. I'm not saying that, but the fact people can't register that there's a difference of good and evil going on right now. And I don't think everybody on the left by any means is bad. But what I do think is that
just most of them.
There's a naivete there that harkens back to the 30s German thing where people get sucked in this direction and they get caught up in the bullshit. But the news media has become the problem. And you have these people that aren't critical thinkers. They're taught in schools where, it's very one-sided, and then they get out and they get indoctrinated with this information. But now you're taking weak people or people with nothing to lose and no purpose, going back to that conversation, you're getting them fired up, and you can trigger people. And if I got an iWatch and I got an iPhone and an iPad, guess what? If you're controlling me, you know what my respiration is, you know what my blood pressure is, you know what fires me up when I make more errors when I'm keying and what's going to trigger me. And I think that intentionally or not, whatever is going on, it feels to me like 2001 all over again. Like there's this weird, odd stomach gut feel that I have that we're in for more bad, which I hate to say.
Because the bear's been poked. Yeah. And that's what it is, right? And you look at a large majority, and I got tons of veteran friends that are Democrats, but unlike, and kind of to the point with George Floyd, that happened, fucking, shitty that it did, but the entire country got lit on fire. And now you have 20 million bored fucking veterans that have millions of dollars of training and are really fucking good at what they do. But the problem with the Republicans is a level of passivity, right? And candle vigils. And so I feel like the Charlie Kirk getting killed was kind of a wake-up call to right-leaning individuals of, all right, we're fucking over this. Like, we're fucking tired of this. We're tired of our kids being indoctrinated. We're tired of, principals and school teachers and professors, preaching this leftist ideology. And now we're fucking standing up for this shit. And we're like, we fucking had it. I've never wanted to fucking punch a bitch in the hair or punch a bitch in the face with blue hair more than after that whole fucking thing. I'm like, I'm fucking over it.
Yeah. A lot of people on the left are realizing too that, like, bro, like there's a lot of very smart people who are on the left for their own reasons, but they saw that and they're like, bro, this is like,
this has gone too far.
This is a bridge too far, bro. Like this is, and also they saw the far lefts or the mainstream left's response to it.
Celebrating.
And they're like, bro, this is not right.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so there's a lot of these people from the left that are kind of disenfranchised with that now.
Yeah.
And
it's helped.
And I think the right is doing a good job of not letting the pendulum swing too far to the side where we're not open to them coming over. I think in the spirit of dialogue, Charlie Kirk, it's better to be like, hey, look, this is kind of what we've been telling you guys. Like this is not like, it is a fringe, but it's an amplified fringe. It's been amplified by the media and whatever. And so, hey, thank you for waking up. You don't have to come over to our side, but we would appreciate if you would push back on these people that are on your side.
At least push more towards the center. And I think there's some fucked up dudes that are far right, and there's
100%.
totally fucked up dudes that are far left.
But they're not whacking a bunch of fucking people. They're not shooting a leftist, political representative in the neck.
Yeah.
Well, there was that. Whoever the fucking, because that was the big tit for tat thing.
Oh, the Minnesota thing.
The Minnesota,
which,
and I hate to be that person like, well, this didn't happen. Well, this happened, but then this. Well, you shot Trump and you shot. It's like, regardless, it shouldn't be like
No,
It shouldn't, right?
Shut it all down.
A lot of it is just disingenuous reporting. So I was talking to, I saw somebody comment about the Charlie Kirk thing, like, because I was saying, hey, it's a leftist that did this, and there's a lot of leftists that do this, and political violence, and a lot of them are trans, for a variety of reasons. And it's like, well, the statistics say this and that. I'm like, the statistics include fucking gang violence, and that's why they're totally skewed. If you take away gang violence and you just look at actual, like, mass shootings, we would call mass shootings that make the news, it's almost entirely left. It's almost entirely trans. Like, there's a very clear pattern.
That was the last words out of Charlie Kirk's mouth before he got shot.
Exactly.
Was talking about that.
But they obfuscate the data with bullshit. And like, well, the data says this.
The data with gang violence.
Yeah, and they're like, well, the data says this. I'm like, bro, you got to understand you got to look deeper than the data that's presented and look at the actual, what's it called? When they collect the data, and like, what are they actually calculating for in the data?
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's
people
like
don't
saying
do that.
gun violence. It's like, oh, well, gun violence, like including suicide.
Right.
And you're like,
Yeah.
well, of course, the majority of the guns are owned probably by a lot of fucking right-wing people.
Yeah.
And when they do clack themselves off, they fucking shoot themselves. Well, of course, including that, unless you're going on a fucking crazy-ass fucking shooting spree and offing an entire family and then turn the gun on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just
that's gun violence because it is somebody killing themselves, but
the telling part is the unwillingness of the media to actually have a real conversation about it and actually look at the real patterns and the real data. They just gloss over, well, the data says this. I'm like, no, the data doesn't say that.
Right.
You're not reading the right fucking data.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Nick, when you're saying, with the media, I hate to be the person who's going, fucking. When Trump came out with this whole fake news, like calling shit fake news, is as bad as, it's kind of corny as it is. It's kind of right on the fucking nose because there's so much misinformation and misreporting and just overall fucking lies. I mean, I get if you're a fucking news anchor and you're going, even whether you're left leaning, right leaning, whatever, and if you're falsely reporting shit just for ratings,
Well, they're reaching so hard.
Yeah, I'm not saying there should be restrictions on any kind of freedom of the press, but
there should be repercussions. You should be held accountable for what you say. Like when some left media, when Charlie first got shot, they're like, well, maybe it was a right-wing guy celebrating by firing his gun off. I'm like, are you, like, this really got past all your checks to make it on your fucking news platform?
The correction should have to be at the start of the broadcast. These things were incorrect yesterday, blah, 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 and then go into it. If you took 100 people, left, right, or anyone else, and you sat them down in a room and you said, is it worse that 100,000 people die in a year or 10,000? 100 out of 100 would say it's worse that 100,000 people died, right?
Depends on the people.
But, yeah, that's true. But think about this, right? So if there's roughly 20,000 firearm deaths in the United States a year, half of them are suicide, so you got about 10,000 left. Gang violence, what percentage of those are with illegal weapons? Who's committing the crime? You still got about 10,000. Chinese precursor fentanyl going through the border for 4 years killed somewhere around 400,000 people, 450,000 people. It's 100,000 people a year. 3,000 people got killed on 9/11, and you fucking guys had people's heads on sticks for 20 years.
Yeah.
For 100,000 people are getting killed a year, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody even talks about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's one nugget the media doesn't talk about. Car accidents, right? Traffic in like the 70s or early 80s got up in the 50,000 range for fatalities. It went all the way down into the mid to high 30s, right? And now it's going back up. Now, granted, there's more drivers, etc., but think about this. The tires are better. The airbags are better. Yaw control, dynamic stability control,
crush
anti-lock
zones.
brakes, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Why are they going up again? Because of this fucking thing, right? It's not a phone, it's a computer. And nobody talks about that stuff. So anyway, my point is exactly reinforcing what you're saying is the media is not bringing out these facts to say this many people died from fentanyl, it's a real issue. This many people died from, firearm deaths that weren't suicides. Not that the suicides don't count, but if you put all that out there, people, for the most part, will be unified on what's a real problem and prioritizing, triaging the issues and attacking it. And I can say, like, this is the first business I've owned with other people. I got black dudes, white dudes, Polynesian dudes, gay dudes, all sorts of different people that own this company. The reason that they all invested in it is, they want to make money. But in a football huddle, nobody gives a shit what nationality anybody is.
Yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
cares if somebody's straight, gay, what religion, whatever.
No.
It is 3rd down and 12.
Got the same goal.
And
Same
there's-
with the mission brief.
and it's everything that America should be.
Yeah.
But guess what? There's no bullshit news in that huddle. It's 3rd and 12. The wind's blowing this way. We got to score 6 points. We can't get a field goal here. Everybody's got real data, and they've all worked together, and they've all suffered through the conditioning, and they've all come from different places, some rich, some poor, but nobody gives a shit. So how can we clone that? And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. And scale it to other places. And, it's great that football's growing at 7% a year. And flag football will be a completely different game as, giving people a place to play. Like Cathedral Catholic's a big high school here. My kid was 6'1", 6'2", 300 pounds, and he's playing high school fucking football.
Dang.
You can't go and play to school like that. So these younger kids, it might be the only time they get a male figure, or they really have to,
team
there's-
structure.
Exactly. And hey, you got to have grit. And you fucked up. You snapped the ball over the quarterback's head twice and you lost. What are we going to do to fix that? And the kid's got to recover from that. But he's not going to quit because he doesn't want to leave his buddies. So he'll show back up. We need more of that stuff versus I'm playing video games. Oh, I got in a bad spot. I just hit reset. I jump in a different room. There's no ramifications or consequence. And then when you run into problems in your life, you don't have the internal confidence, and then you lash out, right? You become part of this nuttiness. But I don't know what the solution is to it, but it certainly is painful to watch. And I have to check my irritation or rage sometimes when this stuff happens, because I'm like, man, what would my kids think if that were me sitting up there? Because I can be opinionated at times. Or I've known your kids since they were babies. What would my reaction or your family's reaction be if that happened to you? So that's what really bothers me. And you guys gave a big chunk of your time in life so that guys like me could sit around and try to figure out how to make money, lose it all, come back, do all this other crazy stuff. And I'm appreciative of it. And I know you don't expect everyone to be, but what you do expect everyone is to respect the system enough to be able to have dialogue and engage and go back and forth on these issues. I mean, there's certain social issues that conservative people get fired up about that don't really bother me, right? And we all have a little different opinion. But when things devolve to this point, and just because that happened doesn't mean everyone's all of a sudden going to behave. What's the breaking point of this? And you can bet your ass that the Chinese and the Iranians and the Russians fucking love this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the big picture solution is either, but I think you nailed it. A huge part of the solution is going to be just controlling what you control, like controlling how you raise your kids, controlling the environment of your friend group, and like making sure that you have open dialogue, and just being the best person that you can so that you don't end up with a fucking Range Rover full of dirty diapers and fucking maggots and shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man, it's crazy, but those people are out there, and I think you can get lost in the sauce on all these big picture ideals and big changes, but it really comes down to like your community, your circle, what you can do, your family. And I think if more people focused on that and controlled what they can control within their circle, we can make real change, because now you're building leaders. Now you're building people who are able to articulate real conversations and push the dialogue forward in a positive way. And I think that's that's not the whole solution, but I think that's a big key part of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about being able to engage, which there's a level of engagement that, makes sense, and then there's a level where you're like, okay, like before this, I think around like 2019, I went out to Thailand and I did this Spike Lee movie out there, and prior to that, I would get on fucking Facebook and I would get on Instagram and I would go down these fucking rabbit holes and get in these fucking arguments with these. Half of them were probably fucking bots about a fucking Second Amendment or about free speech or about fucking God knows what, about a fucking sniper being able to shoot somebody from fucking the dumbest shit. I'm getting these fucking social media arguments. I went out there and there was no fucking no media other than like there was a German news agency in the hotel we were staying in, and I would watch, maybe get some news off of that. But I basically got to a point where I would just stop watching news. I stopped following shit on fucking Instagram and Facebook and whatever else. And dude, when I came back from there, we were out there for like 4 months.
Oh wow!
Came back from this fucking
long time.
And I mean, part of it might have been. It was Thailand, so you got the whole fucking Buddha thing going on. You're very
stand out there.
Yeah, but dude, I got.
He's eating cross-legged.
Yeah, but dude, getting back from there, and I literally got to a point where I would fucking go to make a fucking post on social media. And I'd be like,
What am I doing?
like, what the fuck, man? I'm not changing anybody's fucking mind.
Yeah.
Just like they're not changing mine. So it gets to a point where. And I think that's how far the media has come, to the point where, like, I literally just had to stop watching the fucking news because you can only watch so much of fucking MSNBC or Fox or fucking whatever.
It's not even news anymore.
It's like one side or the other.
Yeah,
You're not even getting.
It's just opinions.
Yeah. Like you have to watch Fox a little bit as much as you watch MSNBC, and then form your own conclusion. With it's somewhere in the fucking middle because neither one of them make any fucking sense.
I just watch it on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, what's what? And then I watch the comments because people love to be right or wrong. So I watch the comments and I figure out, oh, that's... So I get so much more information in the comments about it. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the news is... It's fucking useless because they've gone from telling you the news to telling you how to think about the news.
And that's caused more of a division in the fucking states than anything. Is just that, like, you're right. Oh, I got to be fucking right. I'm going to argue this until I fucking... To the point of either having a fucking heart attack or one foot in the fucking grave because I have to be right.
You know why that
seeing
changed
somebody
too?
else's fucking shit and going...
Because it's a very clear reason why that changed was because a lot of these news agencies used to be profitable with their distribution system, right? By selling newspapers, by selling magazines, by selling whatever. They had a subscription service, and that's how they made their money. And they'd sell ad space, but that wasn't their primary thing. Their primary thing was distribution. So now that obviously went away with the internet. So nobody's buying newspapers, right? Nobody's buying magazines. Yeah. So they're not profitable with their old model. So they switched to the new model, which is they're selling advertising space. The problem is with advertising space is the way that advertising is monetized is that you get paid, you get to charge a higher amount by how many people view your shit. So now they're just focusing on how many people
shock value
shit.
Shit.
And then that turns them into these just shock value shit where they're just blasting people with stuff they know is going to be incendiary.
Yeah. Clickbait and bullshit.
So journalism is dead. And it's because their model for monetization is completely fucking changed.
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't know what the solution is to that, but it's a real fucking problem.
I will say I felt more at peace when I came back from fucking Thailand by just like there's times I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put this motherfucker on blast, and I'll type something out and be like,
yeah, why bother?
Delete. I'm like, dude.
Well, that's what I was saying about the problem with Republicans and Democrats, right? Is Democrats are the first motherfuckers to do that, right? But Republicans, or typically us on the right-leaning side, are like, not worth my time, not worth my energy, not worth my effort, right? And it might be a bot, right? Yeah, I have a job, unlike fucking Democrats, and so you don't want to post these things. However, you're not influencing anybody either. Right. Yeah. And so that's why the left feels so obligated because they're the first motherfuckers to, post everything on social media. And, Republicans could just, we're quiet and we go to work.
One thing I do think is somewhat valuable, maybe this is just me being, overly optimistic, but I do think that...
Devil's advocate.
Yeah, so when I'm arguing with somebody online, and sometimes I just enjoy it. Sometimes I just like talking shit on the internet, dude. It's just fun.
Dude, you love it.
I do. It's pretty fun, man. I love keeping my e-kung fu game strong. And, but I'll fuck with them, but... I never go into it thinking I'm going to change that person's mind because they're made up. I'm like, whatever, this is just whatever. So when I post things, I don't post for them. I post for the other people viewing to kind of educate them because maybe they're on the fence. They're not this guy who's set.
I agree.
They're looking at it like, oh, well, this guy has a point. So I try to make a point. I frame my argument for this person viewing it where they can be like, oh, that fucking makes sense. Yep. And hopefully enough people view that where we can be like, okay, maybe I didn't think about it this way.
You take
maybe
the higher road
way.
with intelligence.
Yeah, and sometimes also, I just like making fun of people. And only people who deserve it, though. But it's so funny because all the people who are talking shit, they're so fucking easy to make fun of. Because it's all these little fucking neckbeard dudes living in their mom's basement.
Well, there are a lot of bots and shit, too.
A lot of bots, too. The bots are so good now, dude. Because I noticed, because there's just services you can buy to, like, promote all your shit. And it's real easy to tell once you figure it out. However, their new, like, profiles on these bots are fucking good, dude. Then the only reason you can tell, like, they're real pictures, and they look like a real person, and they have a lot of likes, but they have no real comments. If they have any comments, it's like fire emoji, fire emoji. And that's the only reason you can tell somebody who's like 5,000 followers, whatever. No friends are commenting real comments.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're a bot.
Yeah, totally true. And think about this, too. Like, when I was a kid, Walter Cronkite was on for 30 minutes. Now, Fox, CNN, they're on for an hour. 24 hours a day. So, out of that time, let's say it's 50 minutes of content. All it is a fight for, hey, at what point am I catching this person? Am I sucking them to this side? Because I'm going to watch what makes me feel good about my position. So whether I'm at Fox or I'm on CNN, I'm doing that. 20 years ago, Cosmo Magazine didn't say to a lady, hey, you're morbidly overweight because you're eating like 3 bags of Doritos and eating at fucking McDonald's. It's like, oh, you're a victim. Because of this or that. You got a gland problem. Yeah, it's a fucking mouth gland.
Yes, girl.
Right? But
you
no one
slay,
ever...
queen.
Nobody called anybody out, and now nobody does it on this end, too. It's like, hey, you got to think both ways. So there's none of that. It's where am I going to go to get comfort and reinforce my position? And that's why, and I know you guys do it. I mean, I go and I force myself to listen to and read different things.
Yeah.
Because I want to know how other people think. And every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, yeah, that is a different way of looking at things, isn't it? Right? So
you're wrong about a lot of shit.
You ever notice how body positivity went out the window as soon as Ozempic hit?
Yeah, because it was always a fucking
true.
lie, dude.
Shit.
It was always a lie.
It was a lie, yeah.
And the whole thing
Sports
about
Illustrated coming out with it. Now, guess what? Every
The whole thing,
single
you're
fat
good
bitch is on
enough.
Ozempic.
Like, I like the idea.
Shocker. That shit went out the window.
Dude,
Now that
for
you got
real.
the easy jab, you fucking
It's so
fat cunt.
I love the idea of like being comfortable with your like self, and confident. But also, I hate the idea because people push too far on that. And the other end of that is like you need to want to be better. You know what I mean? You should want to be better, but they don't want because they go all in on like I'm good enough. I deserve this. I'm like, and they're just completely fucking delusional.
And they're riding their Sibian, fucking ordering fucking Panda Express.
Dude, it's crazy.
Watching
The
MSNBC.
Sibian. Man, we brought the Sibian up.
Dude, I almost bought one of those, bro. They're like $1,500.
I know, dude.
I bought something better though, but anyway, that's a different.
I got a good story about one of those in Palm Springs.
Actually,
The Sibian?
you know what, dude?
Oh, yeah.
Nick, you were talking a big game coming in here with all these stories, and now I really want to hear some of these iconic heyday things because
Sibian stories.
I mean, between losing your wedding ring, Palm Springs, like I know you're sitting on some gold.
Yeah, well, so when I first broke up or stopped dating I thought we were going to talk football.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
That chance.
The thing I learned, right, between I got divorced, I was like 42 years old, that and we're in Southern California, right? But I don't give a shit where you live, that there's a group of people that are either they're divorced or separated, whatever, and it's fucking limitless. So if you're 42, you can date somebody that's 30 all the way to 55 years old. And if somebody's been married for a period of time and they're punching out of the jet, what are they looking for?
Validation.
They want entertainment. They want to feel safe, right? Now, at the time,
Is this what Grindr tells you?
No, this is why he's valeting it.
my OnlyFans page is doing exceptionally well. But the whole point is that you're going to see right away at our age if somebody's like a digger, right? They're looking for cash, whatever. So take that and throw that on the side. When I was 21 years old, I dated the hot 21-year-old chick. Like, I'm not going to go at 57 and date a 21 or 28 or I have no desire to do that. But now you're in this space and all of these people are like, man, my marriage was shitty. I couldn't have sex. I couldn't go and do this. I couldn't go to this wild party. I couldn't wear this. I couldn't say this thing or think this way or share this fantasy or whatever. So if you make that safe, man, that is the keys to the kingdom. Like, you can go to town. I mean, I'm actually writing a book about this, but I had to wait till my poor mom and dad, my dad probably would have agreed with it, but my mom, man, she would have lost her marbles. I was 22 and I just started racing cars, and I started to date this lady. She was Brazilian, and she was actually Adrian Fernandez's
that's a lot of money.
Fiance.
Brazilian.
And they had broken up, and I meet her, it's a whole other thing. And at the time, that was only new, the Brazilian.
Oh, yeah.
But so I start dating this girl. She's 44, and I'm like 22 years old. And I'm like, oh, so all this stuff is okay. And I realized that in early age. Then I'm married, and I'm like, I can't do any of that? Like, this kind of sucks, right? And so then when I got done,
what's a rim job?
Yeah. That ain't nothing. Like,
what does boof hear me?
every crazy party, event. I mean, waking up at my place, and I'm like, oh man, opening day, Del Mar, my phone's, 29 missed calls, and I'm like, fuck, and it's the front gate at the neighborhood I'm in, and the security dude was a buddy of mine. That big black dude that played at Michigan State.
Yeah.
And Brad Kelso was the nicest guy, passed away. He's like, bro, the police are here. And he's like, the motley crew in your backyard is just cranked out, right? And I wake up, and the first call was maybe like 90 minutes ago. So now I know I'm probably in some trouble, right? So I go to the front door, and there's two guys sitting out there, and they're drinking a Coke, right? And the security guy from the neighborhood, and they're like, Nick, what the fuck are you doing? And the guys I knew, and I'm like, God, dude, sorry. He goes, yeah, there's two naked girls and a floaty in the backyard. We made sure that they were okay, but fuck, we had to use your towels to dry back off because the floaty was in the middle of the pool, and they couldn't get to them with the pool net to pull them on the side. But, the crazy factor is crazy. I mean, multiple girls, crazy parties, whatever
especially
you
in this city.
In this city, right? In Palm Springs or LA, and I'm not like a Newport Beach. Like, San Diego's my jam, right? Like, we're dressed like this. You can't tell at the breakfast place if a guy's a billionaire, he's a lifeguard, and guess what? Nobody gives a shit here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When you're in Laguna Beach or Newport Beach or Santa Monica, it's a whole different jam.
He's not even wearing an ascot. What a loser.
The people on the East Coast. I mean,
You're so not wrong.
The thing I will say, I've been dating a girl for about a year and a half now, which has been an interesting exercise after going through this craziness for all this period of time. I had, what's the best way to put it? I'm kind of at peace where I'm like, oh,
you got
sexy.
her Adam's apple shaved down, right?
Yeah. I got the number from you. She's gonna fucking put dishwashing soap in your drink when she sees you.
No, she's a great chick.
But she's a great chick. But she's, very peaceful. She's been through it all. There's nothing that she's like jabbing. And the other thing is, somebody drinks too much and you're not drinking a lot, problem. Somebody's doing a bunch of a blow and you want to go to bed, problem.
You got to be at the same speed, man.
Well, you guys kind of went through the same shit together at different
totally
times.
did.
So now you both have that frame of reference. So it's, you both know where each one of you came from. So you have that common denominator.
Ryan and I were talking about this too, right? Like, I've kind of done it all.
Yeah.
So now in the second marriage, like, I got married really young, early on, and there was a whole lot of other things I was missing out on, or at least I felt like I was missing out on, especially when I got out and I moved back here and I no longer had to answer the DOD or the CIA.
Yeah.
And so hence, why I'm divorced one time. But then everything that you're talking about, like, it was there.
Yeah.
And so now going to my second marriage, I'm like, I'm good. Like, to your point, like, at peace.
Yeah.
It's like, I've
there's a lot of value in that, man.
I've been around the block, but now I'm good.
And I'm not totally good. Like, I still like it because I'm fucking loving debauchery, right?
Still eat ass.
My poor girlfriend is going to lose her shit when she sees that.
Don't show her.
But the reality is, right, you get in that thing, and I mean, I don't want to say I was addicted to it, but I kind of was, because, you're like, girl leaves, it's like 2 a.m, you're up late, You had a wild time with her, out the door. Somebody else is the pharmaceutical rep. They're rolling by your place. You're doing that, and then you're going on another date at night, and you're like, hey, doing this before 12 so I could tell my buddies I had 3 girls. Like crazy shit like that, right? Girls and their girlfriends coming over. Oh, my friend Trixie separated, like bring her over. And it's like, oh, my God, I'd never do that, 13 seconds later, right?
Yeah.
and the girl's got a phone camera out, whatever. You're like, oh, my, right? And then it's like anything else. You start driving if somebody said today, you're going to go and you've never driven a car before, you go to National Rental Car and you roll out in the Dodge Charger with the 3.6 liter Pentastar. Fastest car you ever drove? Dodge Charger, 3.6 liter Pentastar.
Really?
Yeah. But when you go out and you've driven every fucking car.
Oh, you're saying if that's
the case, right? But now you go out and you're like a glut. And you're like fucking Hansel and Gretel of women just shoveling the shit in. Like, dude, there's a recovery time once you're done with that of like, man, I can't think in that mentality anymore. And then what'll happen is like the old chicks will show up or, hey, let's go do this or this will happen or that temptation's there. But it's been good. Like now I'm in a good, peaceful place.
Where's my Dodge Charger?
Well, let's not go too far. We at least need the fucking scat pack. Why would you call something a scat pack? By the way,
yeah. I think people don't watch enough porn.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
What about the red eye?
That's true.
You don't want to drive a
who's
red eye.
thinking of that? Like, who are the guys that came up with these?
Dude, it's like the fucking names of these cars keep getting bigger, and it's like, Hellcat, red eye, wide body, jailbreak. Like, how much shit can you put on a fucking car?
Yeah,
That's
whatever happened
Just
to
call it
V-Badge?
the.
Now it's a Blackwing.
Yeah.
The thing, being a huge car guy, sorry, jumping off the girl chick onto that before I get myself into any trouble, is this whole EV thing, right? Like, people don't, the one thing that drives me insane is, I've got the Hummer pickup truck, right? It weighs 9,000 pounds.
Does it have one of those?
9,000 pounds. No.
The EV one?
You just got your attention with Hummer. So the reality is, let's say you've got your Raptor weighs 6,500 pounds or 6,000, whatever, it's somewhere in there. You're telling me that something's more efficient that weighs 9,000 pounds than 6,500 pounds? Like it's going to use less energy?
It's not physically possible.
No, it's going to use more brake. It's going to use more tire. It's still got to move 1/3 more weight around.
It's fucking physics.
And I'm good with the electric zero motorcycle, good with electric car. Everybody should have their choices. But the thing I'm challenged with that people don't talk about, nor does the media, when you take all this cash and you dump it into EV, and like Porsche went through and just did that, now they're going to go back and put all these ICE engines, internal combustion engines, back in the Cayman, the Boxster,
Thank God,
and they got to re-engineer. But guess what? Though that money didn't allow them to make those engines more efficient, which is what the majority of us are going to drive. So the net gain or loss of that, I just disagree. Now, you go out and buy a new Dodge Charger with the battery-powered one. Nobody bought them. You could lease them for $99, right? $99 a month. Now, when that car's 6 years old, dude, there's no used car market. The battery costs 25 fucking grand. So now the used car fucking market's going to go through the roof, right? Like there's all these unintended consequences. So you have these people that come in, we're going to solve the problem.
Yeah,
Guess
it's like
what?
the 7-year-old Priuses. Same shit. It was like, great.
Yep.
It needs a fucking $20,000 battery, or $16,000 battery if you can find one.
Exactly. And I'll tell people all the time, I'm like, hey, I've got a solution to this whole fucking energy problem. It's a compost material deep under the ground. It's called oil, right?
Yeah.
It's naturally produced.
That's the thing about all these leftist policies. They sound good, but they continuously fail to think 1, 2, 3 steps ahead. Like all these things with California, like, we're gonna
that's politics 101.
Yeah, we're gonna make everything EV by 35. I'm like,
and we have no grid.
The grid can't support. Like, I mean, it's physically impossible. And they're just like, we're just gonna completely ignore the basic facts and make policy based on what we feel good. And then they're surprised when it doesn't work. It blows my mind how like people just don't think things through.
What are you going to do with an electric Rivian? You can't off-road it because there's no like solar thing out in the middle of Ocotillo Wells for you to charge your truck. And then they wanted to do it in the last administration with the military vehicles. I'm like, bro, you're going to have a fucking solar-powered tank that runs on like kale? Like, I mean, are you kidding me?
Right. What the fuck? So we live in Pacific Beach, a beach town. And like, dude, very few. Like, we have a garage, but I park my fucking Willys in there, bro. It's not my daily, you know.
Yeah.
And everybody's daily parks on the street, and if everybody's daily and there's no garages. So if everybody's daily
Where's your
is on
charger?
the fucking street, you're just gonna have a bunch of extension cords running. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not physically
It's
fucking
gonna look
possible.
like Baghdad fucking telephone
Yeah,
poles.
but they
Yeah,
just
no
don't
shit.
think about it. It's so
Fucking wires everywhere.
it blows my mind how people make these decisions. Like, oh, it's a good decision. Like, you really think this is a good decision?
But they don't think fucking long term at all.
They don't. But
and it's
that's
not
where
even
the-
long term. It's like this
Now,
plus this
yeah.
is this, and you can't figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well,
crazy.
And now, so, for General Motors, they're not selling any of those new trucks they came out with that are EV trucks, right? So that's going to hurt the employees there. It's going to hurt the stockholders. It's going to hurt everyone. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be EVs. I think there should. I think there's commuter cars and motorcycles and
Yeah,
things.
it's a great tool.
It's
Yeah.
a great tool, but it shouldn't have been mandated. Let the market
Right.
mandate it. The market has proven over time to be the best vet of technology or anything else. When we were letting all these people into the country and the border was open, not to get on another sore topic, but if you give 20 million or 12 million, depending on what number you believe, housing vouchers, and then at the same time you're bitching that the price of housing went up, bro, did you miss the supply and demand?
Yeah.
Cliche phrase at some point, because you can't have a whole bunch of people come in, give them vouchers and do that. And that those things are the things that I think the media should talk about. I think the schools should be talking about it.
No, they won't.
Did any of you guys, when you were in high school, have a history class that really talked about the Vietnam War, the Korean War, the Shah of Iran and how Jimmy Carter fucked him, or any of the other things that created Iraq-Iran war prior to the first Gulf War? Nobody even talks about this stuff. Like the Renaissance period or the Dark Ages is great to know about, but the contemporary history is skipped. And if it is addressed, it's addressed in very small components, and then nobody knows about it. And
A lot of
it's sad.
civics too. A lot of civics, like they don't even teach that shit anymore.
It's true.
In like you could ask fucking 100 fucking high school students like what the fucking Bill of Rights are, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
It's like what you get from McDonald's.
Yeah.
This is my receipt. Oh, you motherfucker. You know.
Yeah,
Which
this-
is infuriating because I watch a lot of like some of these like auditor videos, like fucking
the
dudes
police
like
auditors. They're so
yeah, First
annoying.
Amendment and shit. But it's fucking funny because you see some of these cops that come they roll in there and they have no fucking clue. Or you have, and I'm a big supporter of cops. Obviously, we used to be cops, sort of reserve cops, but
Sort of.
But it's like one of those fucking things. Like, how can you serve and be so just obtuse to what you're able to do? And I get it's a fucking thankless job and it's a hard job, and but it's the same thing where like you see some dude walk out on a fucking sidewalk in public and go, "Hey, you can't film me." You're like, every fucking car now has, especially Teslas, they have like 7 fucking cameras on them.
You're
Like,
always
dude,
being filmed, dude.
if you don't think you're always on camera, there's something wrong. And walking outside on the sidewalk and seeing some dude like this shit and like blowing your stack because you're going to be in his content, you're like, bro,
Yeah, and the
camera
more,
there, camera there, camera
Yeah.
there, camera
The
there.
more you blow
There's
your
14
stack, the more
cameras
view
on
he's
that
gonna
car.
get.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And just
Exactly.
watching people just lose their mind and not knowing what First Amendment is, not knowing what Fourth Amendment is,
Yeah.
not knowing what fucking any of this shit means. You
Yeah.
know, it's just
I'm
going along with
excited.
the whole people just not.
I just
being
want to go
taught
back
this
to
shit
98.
anymore.
I'm excited for this
98.
next change, man. I think the pendulum swung way too far the other way.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to come back, hopefully to center. Hopefully it doesn't swing back too far where we're like,
Right.
oh, we got real problems. But I think a recentering of the nation is in general a good fucking thing. Back
Hands
to
down.
common sense, back to like let's all
Well,
focus like we talked about initially, like alignment.
Unfortunately, it's one of those fucked up things. It takes like 9/11.
Yeah.
Where like 9/12, everybody's got a fucking American flag in front of their house. Like, we'll never forget.
Yeah.
10 years later, it's like 9 what? Like what?
Yeah. Actually, I heard the best quote right after Charlie Kirk got killed, right? Which is 9/10.
Yeah.
The best quote I saw was 9/12/2001 would be in Barris of 9/12/2025.
Yeah.
And because think how unified we were. I mean, granted, I'm not throwing praise out there for people that were randomly just punching fucking Muslims or Indians or sheiks or anybody in the face.
Yeah.
But the level of unity was amassed.
Yeah.
And it was all walks of life.
You just got to stand up for what's right, dude. And what's right is what's right, and you can have an opinion about it one or the other. But there's spectrums on the right and there's spectrums on the left. But I think most quality Americans would agree that hey, we want to be able to prosper, we want our own freedom,
life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, we don't want to be fucked with, and we want to be able to do our own thing. Yeah. And that's what it should be about.
I think most people just want to be left the fuck alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we can get back to that, dude, and I think I'm optimistic. I'm really excited about. I think we're going that direction. I'm excited about it. Yeah. But it comes down to just conversations like this and just talking to people. Hey man, let's just fucking give you freedom.
A healthy
give me
conversation.
Freedom. Yeah, exactly, and be open to it.
It shouldn't take. You shouldn't take one group, one side or the other, sitting there screaming.
No,
you're a fucking Nazi, or you're a fascist, or you're a fucking this, or you're a fucking that.
It goes nowhere.
You just go, dude. Fuck, man. All I said was I wanted fucking extra salt on my fries.
and there's a difference between when words became and people said, "Oh, that's violent," or "You're causing harm to me by saying it," right? That bleeding that into physical kinetic action against somebody and making that the same thing is wrong, right? You should be able to have a pretty. And I've had pretty heated dialogue with friends on all different issues. I've got guys that I'm best buddies with, and we disagree on certain issues, or they're going to be irritated that I'm even on here having this conversation. And I look at it as, if I can't sit and share about my worst day, my best day, it's hopefully gives people some perspective of, man, this day was shitty for him. He was at the gate, right?
Yeah.
And then the best day's here. But guess what? That best day doesn't stay forever. That most of my life is operating in here. But also just having discussions about this, it's I've had issues like that where I've thought differently. I have issues where I'm hey, I don't believe in X happening at all, but I can live with somewhere in the middle. But unless you talk about it,
one of my best friends is pretty far left. He's a former Marine entrepreneur. I'm amazed at some of the views he has, but we have good conversations about it, man. And he opens my eyes up to stuff. I'm like, shit, dude, I didn't think about it that way. You got a good point. And
is this a flat earther?
No, a different guy.
Oh, okay.
He's smart.
But I think once I think it goes both ways too, because once you become the victim and everything you say is offensive, then you basically shut down dialogue. Because I'm not going to sit and continue to try to have a dialogue with somebody that's just constantly going, well, you're fucking wrong, and everything you say, you're a fucking Nazi. And you're like...
And also, too, if everything's offensive, then nothing is offensive.
Right.
So you completely devalue...
Exactly.
Right. If violence is words, then you're devaluing actual fucking violence.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, racism's a prime example of it.
Totally.
Where people yell at me, they're like, you're racist, because I'm like... Dude, first off, I'm 100% Armenian, so I'm probably one of the smallest minorities around. Second off, the people that I've chosen either to protect, work with, be business partners with, are all race, colors, and creeds. My ideas and their ideas may be totally different, but it has absolutely nothing what somebody looks like, their genetic makeup, or anything like that.
Be a quality person.
Well, and it waters down actual fucking racism, because then you have some far right fucking nut job who's an actual racist.
You got American History
that's
X,
fucking talking fucking mad shit about.
Fag.
Yeah, exactly.
He's talking
That's
KKK
exactly
shit, and you're calling him racist, but nobody listens because everybody's a racist.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I 100% agree on that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we're coming back to center as a country, dude. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I'm hopeful. I'm thankful that I feel like we're on the right track.
Our fucking viewers are gonna be like, "What the fuck happened to your podcast?"
Where are the work?
We're going to start singing Kumbaya.
And our next episode, we were going to be talking about religion.
And the Indigo Girls will be singing the opening.
Totally. Yeah. But there's so many other podcasts that talk about all the drama and all the shit. I'm just like, oh God. This has actually been a really good conversation because we've never talked about it on podcast before.
No.
But it's actually been pretty good it's pretty fucking, I would say, pretty even keel.
We made it 2.5 hours and we didn't even mention buds once.
It's because you guys got me in here.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think you were in the bathroom on that break, but I'm like, it's great having Nick on here. I'm like, I know Nick appreciates having Nick because, dude, like every time we're getting ready to invite somebody, like, oh yeah, he's Bud's class, and like,
He's like, great, another fucking team guy.
Nick's like,
But an hour later, we haven't gone past SQC.
yeah, right. That was my 14th platoon. You're like, God damn it, dude.
No shit. All right, well let's move on from that, man. So let's talk about the helmets, like, because I'm curious, how did you? Because these are very unique. 3D printed stuff. Did you guys innovate that? Was anybody doing 3D printed helmets before you guys got on that?
There was actually. So when we bought the company in 2018, how did you know the Douglas snap worked?
Because I tried to grill it just like he did, and then I'm like, I'm not that dumb, and then it pinched.
Nice.
I would have figured it out.
That's a cool little component, right?
Fucking Gray Babe over here trying to fucking Gray Babe.
Like a vanilla
He's
gorilla.
pulling
dude.
like this. The veins bulging out of his bicep for the first time in 5 years.
No shit, right?
So when the guy that started this company, Bill Simpson Racing, like if anybody's watched any sort of like Smokey and the Bandit, or so Simpson helmets, window nets, 3-layer Nomex suits that gives you a couple seconds in a fire, the seats, everything else. So he designed all that
Did he make like
stuff.
that fucking Hans device and shit
He
too? Or?
built one similar to that. Hans is a little different company, but
okay.
they do the same. They do the same thing. But
Yeah, they're huge in the safety.
100%.
Safety, yeah.
And Bill's now passed
fire
away, but
suits
he and Chip Ganassi started this company.
I know
and,
Chip.
Yep, and Chip's a cool guy. Bill was at a Colts game in Austin Collie, got knocked the fuck out, and he looked at the helmet. He's like, man, we can apply some of this auto race stuff to football. So we got it to a certain point. Jeff Saturday, Dwight Freeney wearing a helmet, and I should have brought one. It looks like a styrofoam internal and just a round ball, right? But they weren't football guys, so they got stuck. And they got stuck with the politics of the NFL. You have equipment managers that are used to dealing with the Riddell guys for 20 years, going to the steakhouse and the strip club. You got parents that are like, oh, I see Riddell, which was the official helmet of the NFL for forever until there was a big lawsuit which blew that up, right? So right now there's only 3 football helmet companies. Riddell, they got probably 75-80% market share. A company called Schutt that also owns Vices. And then Light. So we buy the assets from Simpson, and we decide, hey, we're going to spin this thing up. We get hammered with the pandemic. We had a partner company called Collide out of Canada that had asked for some help when we just got started. They're like, we have a technology, but we don't know shit about helmets. So we gave them the CAD for our helmet. They built an internal. They won some big contest at the NFL, got $1 million. They came back to us and said, how about if we mix our tech with your tech? And that's what we did. So this guy has got a 3D printed internal on it. A normal football helmet weighs between 5 and 6 pounds. This guy weighs 3 to 3.5 pounds.
A big difference.
Yep. It's the #1 rated football helmet at the independent labs of Virginia Tech for youth and varsity different
It's a whole
helmets.
suspension system on the inside.
The whole thing. Yep.
Yeah.
So check that out. The face masks are either chromoly tubing or titanium. We do have some steel ones for less dough. And the helmets run $300 for a youth helmet up to $1,300 for an NFL helmet. But think about this. If you're running a seam route and I thump you and it's an ADG impact, that 3 pounds is now 240 pounds snapping around on your cervical structure.
Oh, you're talking about from not an impact, but from
rotating mass.
Yeah,
and
Yes,
shit.
mass,
exactly. Or if I'm a quarterback and you hit me
Dude, that's
and my
rad.
head slams into the ground, the 6-pound hammer is far harder to resist at 20, 30 Gs than the 3-pound hammer. So we do really well in all the tests. In fact, #1 at Virginia Tech, #1 for position specific in the
And
NFL.
Speak to the Virginia Tech thing. That's a third party that's not affiliated with the NFL. It's not affiliated with anything. It's like third party testing, right?
That's correct. So they're completely independent, and they buy these helmets. They test them. There's probably 100 youth and varsity helmets, and we're #1 in both categories. And that's a huge feather in our cap. And this is a small company that outperformed the big companies and can do it at half the weight. So the thing's really taken off, and we're blessed to have owners like Tyrod Taylor from the Jets, Cam Jordan from the Saints, Tony Romo, the Smith family that founded FedEx. Fred passed away recently. He's a great guy. Actually, he was a FAC or a JTAC in the Marines.
Oh, cool.
And he just went back through Vietnam right before his passing. His son's involved, Cannon Smith, who's actually in the Sicario movie as a stuntman.
Oh, really?
He knows Keith, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And we get a bunch of other NFL guys, Darius Robinson, Mark Sanchez. But then we've got business guys, the guys that started Skills. But Bito, Mo, and Jeff Reeves, who was one of the leapfrogs and got busted up. Those guys are owners. We got a couple of retired Marines. But we're in all the NFL locker rooms. Some of them, only a couple guys are wearing it. Other teams, there's more guys wearing it. Juice up on the 49ers. He's one of my favorites. But it's exciting, and at the same time, man, it's frustrating because people are set in their ways, and you're coming up with an innovative product. And gosh, why wouldn't somebody wear a helmet that's more protective, that helps your athletic performance, because you're taking 2 or 3 pounds off the worst part of the body? But it can be a grind. But all this tech will apply to hockey.
Yeah.
Think construction helmets, bike helmets, etc.
Oh, yeah.
But we got a little bit of a tech play too, where this bumper's replaced with a little thicker one, and we can put an image stabilized camera in there, so you can see POV, and it's not all bouncy. We're probably 9 months away from being able to sell those. But think of now being a tech company, and you've got all the content from these high school and youth players, right? And there's about just under 7 million people playing tackle football in the U.S., about 180,000 in the EU, and then there's sprinklings in other places. But when you look at hockey, lacrosse, think about hockey. There's only 2 helmet companies. Football, other than us, only 2 helmet companies. There's not been disruption in forever. And if a new company can come in and outperform them, and we've only raised total $16 million, which sounds like a lot.
16 or 60?
16, 1-6.
Oh, wow.
And
that's not a lot.
It's not a lot. So to compete with these guys and outperform them is huge. We actually, in our Series A,
that's their marketing budget for a quarter.
For a month, right? Yeah. And we're at a point now where we're like, fuck it, you know what? We're going to let regular people invest that aren't accredited. We're going to take a chunk of the Series A out, and we're going to put it on WeFunder, and we're going to let people invest. So there's people who put 100, 1,000, 5,000, whatever. And where before it's like you're putting 50 in, 100, 250, $3 million. But we're going to change the sport of football. We already have. And locally, we've got big high schools like De La Salle, Cathedral Catholic, Mater Dei. And football's different than it was. I got a kid at Mater Dei. I won't use his name, although everybody knows who he is. Outstanding athlete, 18 years old. His deal at USC's, an $8 million deal for a 4-year deal to play football. The kid's the most grounded, nice kids, great parents, and that's what I love to see. But if I'm that kid, people are like, oh, that bastard, da-da-da. That kid works his ass off. He wakes up every morning, 12 months a year, and before he plays any other sport, he's in the gym. He's got to do all of his football shit on the weekend while another kid's playing a video game. But I'm going to protect that kid, but I'm also going to protect the 6-year-old kid in Flowery Branch, Georgia, right, that gets some shitty helmet that smells like feet and ass from 6 years ago. Yeah. And his mom's like, exactly. I don't want my son to do this, but I want him to play. And we have a solution for that, too. And be protected. Yeah. Plus, the NFL, think about this. If you take the starting quarterback out of any team, does the game get better or worse? It gets worse. So the media rates go down. Yeah. The NFL's not against, and people will think there's this big conspiracy. Dude, they want to protect those fucking guys. Yeah. They want those guys to play. They don't want the key athletes to get hurt. We may disagree at times with, how they go about doing it, but they're a good partner in this, as are the parents, as are the coaches. But sometimes you got to knock down the people that are barriers in any business. But it's a tough slog, but we're having some fun.
What are you finding is the biggest
hurdle?
Yeah, I get people are set in their ways and stuff like that. But I mean, in the military, for years, it's like we didn't give a shit. Oh, this is made out of 1,000-weight Cordura. Like, it got to a point where like companies like London Bridge are like, dude, we don't want to see it if it's not lighter, if it's not better. Yep. Like these friggin' Mitch helmets are like, dude, I don't need more shit to put on a fucking helmet. It needs to be lighter because we're humping our asses off up in altitude or whatever. It doesn't have to last 10,000 years. Right. If it lasts one fucking deployment, if even lasts one mission,
if it's lighter, it's good.
Yeah. So the fact that you have some of these helmets that are like half again as light as like some of these other, I can't imagine going, oh fuck, man. I can understand being apprehensive and going, fuck, man, this thing weighs 2.5 pounds. How is this going to keep my brain inside my fucking skull without just? And I get having some apprehension about,
what's the rationale for resisting it? Because it seems like such an obvious
you
upgrade.
just set in their ways.
So it's set in their way. So, like in the NFL, we've got equipment managers that are totally open and brought these things in immediately. Then you got some that brought a limited number in, and they won't promote it. They'll say, if the athlete asks for it, we'll give it to them. But if we talk to the athlete or the agent or someone, then they bitch at us and say, you're going around us. Then we'll have guys that won't even talk to us. They'll bring one in and put it in the back room. And, hey, they've been doing business with the Riddell guy for forever. They listen to the Riddell guy's pitch. Yeah. And there's some of that can go on. And the same thing at the NCAA. And then what happens is, what does everybody watch? You watch NFL football, a 30-second ad on average for NFL playoffs, preseasons, all of it. $400,000 for a 30-second ad. So right now I got Caleb Williams wearing our helmet. When that dude walks up the line of scrimmage on Monday Night Football and there's, umpteen million people watching,
shit right here.
It is huge. Well, you can't put the name on it.
Of course.
Right? But people in the football world know that this helmet looks differently. Now, that guy, he's going out and saying, hey, I'm going to play football for 15 more years.
So you can't have this on there?
No,
or
in
this?
college you can, but not in the pros. So there was a settlement in
because that's a $400,000 ad placement.
That's right.
Well, I just remember years ago being able, you could
Riddell
see
was on everything, right?
Yeah.
And so, like the University of Utah, when the Cam Rising was in the Rose Bowl, 38-38 against Ohio State, the guy gets knocked out during the game. I'm sitting in the game with my former wife and my kids. And I'm like, I'm going to get a helmet on that guy. So I post something on LinkedIn. Somebody's like, I know the guy's dad. The kid comes to the office, and he's like the fucking dude in the rum commercial, right? Good-looking guy, like 6'3", and he's like, bro, this is light. He's like, I'm wearing this, bro. So we called Utah. They're like, go fuck yourself. We're not going to let anybody wear anything from this new company. I'm like, well, let me come in and talk to you. So the equipment guy there, Kelly Cherie, who I've become very good friends with, he's like, I'm going to set up an opportunity for you guys to talk to the training staff, the helmet guy, myself, and everybody else involved in this. And I went in there, and they were super skeptical. And by the time I left, they're like, okay. And now they're one of our biggest visible clients. In fact, they let us put the bumper on it at that school. And that's a prime example of a kid who's not playing football anymore because he got injured last year, who probably doesn't think about it every day, but because of his visibility, he made a material impact on the safety of so many other kids. That equipment guy who allowed it in the door made a material impact not only on their program, but on so many others. And, if I were doing this when I was 37, the pace of it wouldn't bother me, but at 57, it's like, man, if I burn the boats on this one. There's no, at 50 or 61, 4 years from now, I'm fucking tapping. It didn't work. I'm going to go and, restart again. But, dude, there's no starting at 61. I'll be living in your fucking under the pool where the pitching machine used to be, fucking Cavassier, drinking out, whatever spills through the slats, eating spiders with Papillon down there, right? But the reality is with the people we have involved in this is it's top down, bottom up. You get these players wearing it. I hate to use Tesla as an example, but the first Tesla was a Lotus Exige with a fucking battery in it. And it was a piece of shit. But the next one was better, and the next one was better. Our first helmet was, This helmet, it's the best helmet on the planet. So they see these visible guys wearing it, more visible guys.
Which one is this, the Apache?
Yeah, this is the Apache. So, and the cool thing about it is, the Apache name, at first everyone's like, dude, you can't call it that. People are going to get pissed off. And I get some Native American buddies. They're like, dude, nobody's going to be fucking pissed off about that.
I bless off on this.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Not to mention the fact,
isn't there a fucking helicopter that is pretty decent called the fucking Apache?
Yeah, no shit, right?
So,
but I will say, too, that I don't know if it was the next year or the year after when we went to the Pac-12 championship in Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
When,
you were there.
When Cam, it was Utah playing USC.
Yep.
And, dude, he got fucking blasted and popped right up.
Yep.
And it was just, I'm like, dude, if that's not a testament to that fucking helmet. And, I mean, his head was just like, boom.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit, he's out. And he popped right up and, like, back in the huddle. I'm like,
dang, right on.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's a testament to, I mean.
Well, I would like to think that your sales and metrics, right? Like if you're going to a football team or whatever, with the very with CTE being, such a hot topic in the NFL and longevity within the NFL, it seems like a fucking easy thing. Like, do you want to play football for 15 years or do you want to play it for 7?
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just protect your nugget, you know? And then, you have a lot of guys that are big proponents, former NFL guys, former BMX riders, skateboarders. Dave Mira killed himself, due to his CTE.
Yeah.
And the levels of endorphin dumps and clinical depression and things that are a direct result of that, like, this seems like a fucking no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we not trying to protect the brain?
I agree. And, the biggest proponents are the parents, because kids will switch to this, and the parents will send us an email and say, my God, this happened to my kid in this helmet. And no helmet can protect against every impact.
Right.
Ours can't either. But reducing the weight, improving the performance of the helmet, building a system. But competition breeds better anything, whether it's your cell phone bill, cars, tires, whatever else. When there's only 2 fucking competitors and they're all fat and happy, and we can come in and show like, bro, it's lighter and it protects better, and the independent lab says it. The NFL tests, there's probably 20 helmets roughly, maybe a few more, from the 3 companies that the guys can wear. Then the equipment manager's got to buy it. Then the player's got to select it. So there's a process there. But when you're a parent and you've got a kid playing at XYZ high school, you can, as long as it's approved, in these helmets all have to be quote-unquote NOXI approved. I don't remember what the acronym means, but it's like the National Organization for Sports and Safety Equipment or something. Anybody can wear this. So that's where the traction comes. And then kids like, dude, I'm not wearing that 6-pound fucking boat anchor. They're just not going to do it. But this can work in hockey, construction, you slap some tech in it. But one of the things is, and you guys experience this, if you're in fucking Ramadi and you're blowing 14 doors off in a day and you're standing right by the dead cord when it goes off, dude,
you end up like Kevin.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you!
I knew I shouldn't have gone there. But there's application for this stuff in that. And the weight doesn't matter in that particular event that I just described, but there's some new technology, different types of fluid and things and rings that can be put in helmet that, you put 2 pool balls against one another and you hit it. The middle ball doesn't move, but the one on the other side does. That if you change some of the makeup in that middle ball, that it changes. The blast injuries for you guys had to be huge.
Yeah.
Like if you shoot a Carl Gustav, or you're in an enclosed room shooting a 50, or it Abrams pumps a round out or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, your bell gets rung over and
concussion.
over. How can you reduce that? And then way beyond my pay grade, the other aspect of this beyond these being the best helmets is, how do you treat injury? How do you recognize it? And they're getting to the point now where gait analysis, when somebody walks, they'll be able to recognize whether someone's injured, but also on the healing side of it. So some remarkable progress has been made, some at your guys' expense and some at the players' expense. In the NFL, most players only play in the NFL 3.5 years. And the guys, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, were not making a lot of money. Walter Payton was the first player to make $1 million. Wow. Brock Purdy was making $870, and a guy put a lot of effort to get to that point. Now he got paid, right? But there's guys that are done, and they go back to regular life and they transition out. And if they're dinged up, it makes it harder, right? Because if you've got other neurological stuff going on, it's not better for anyone. So I think we're on the right path, and we appreciate you guys supporting.
Yeah.
But one of the things that meant the most to me was like Mo and Jeff Reeves and Bito and some of the other guys being like, dude, we're supporting this effort, and put nickels in the jukebox. And I know how hard you guys worked for that dough. And that's why you have to zip me in a bag to get me out of there before we fail, because we're not going to fail.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so you said it's open to like everybody now?
Yeah.
To this?
So we took a chunk, because there's a company called Aptera, and they make an electric car. There's no street legal ones other than 2 prototypes, and they've raised like $130 million in crowdfunding. So we went and hired that consultant, and she's like, hey, just take a chunk of your Series A. So people investing get the same terms as like Dennis Pitta from the Ravens that, put in real big chunk of money. But if you put in $500 or $1,000 or $5,000, you're getting the same terms he did. We just want to see if it works. We want to see if people that are fans of the game, their kids play in youth or Pop Warner where they used to play, give them an opportunity to invest to see if that's a conduit. Because as the company grows, you always need more money. You never have enough money.
Oh, shit. If I get a little more free cash, I want to put it in this, dude.
Baby.
How do people get it on the website or something? Or how do they?
You can go to WeFunder and just look up light helmets, and you'll find it. And you can go in there, and all of the documentation that tells you about the company, what the plan is, the deck, videos, information is there. And you make a commitment, and then you're off and running. And it can be as small as, I think it's a couple $100.
Wow.
I mean, it is pretty crazy. You have I throw back to when we were wearing Mitch helmets with, you'd have to put a fucking a weight.
That's right.
Counterweight on the back of the fucking, like a 2-pound dive weight to counteract the fucking nods on the front.
Yeah.
So and then we got like the new suspension system for the chin strap. You're like, with the little dial and shit. You're like, oh shit, you don't have to fucking put a
weight.
And dudes were like drilling holes in the back of their fucking helmet. Like, well, that doesn't help the fucking ballistic coefficient at all, you fucking morons. So, but dude, I mean, even the difference between this helmet and that helmet, is.
This was
crazy.
The first helmet that came out, and it was a good helmet in 2019. When we introduced it. Yeah. But this guy now, and you got to stay in front of it. It's like anything else, right? And what's next for us?
I mean, there's like carbon fiber and like Kevlar and all kinds of crazy shit, right?
Yeah, this guy is made of Aramid, which is just a generic version of Kevlar, and then the inside's expanded polypropylene and some D3O pads. Mm-hmm. The face mask chromoly tubing. So instead of being solid steel like everybody else's, because if you watch UFC, I can take a lot of damage square on, but when you start snapping my head around, what's the worst thing? Putting weight out on the perimeter, because when I get hit and it snaps around, it's more stress on my cervical structure. When we've got this guy, titanium, the shell on this one's nylon, the internals are TPU and a special kind of foam, and Sportstar makes better chin straps than I could ever dream of making, so we just buy it from them. But we're all making all this stuff in North America now. So there's some pieces made up in Canada, but like the face masks are in Chicago. The internal pads are the 3D printed's coming out of Montreal. The fitment pads are out of Washington. Everybody else is making their shit in China.
And you're putting them together in Carlsbad.
Yeah, we're putting them together in California. People are like, dude, you're a dumbass. Like, why would you ever put an assembly thing in Carlsbad? Well, you can build 5 of those in an hour. So the labor component, it's there, but it's not killing us.
Yeah, but you can control the quality too.
1,000%. 1,000%. And there's some pretty stringent, whether it's insurance requirements, supply line, how you put things together. You have to do a ton of destructive testing to make sure that the helmets are, the one that you're selling is the same as the one that you've tested earlier on. And then every football helmet has to get sent in to be refurbished every year or two. So as we grow, you're building, it's like a Harry's razor blade model, right? Because you get $100, $150 for refurbishment on the back end. And then if we put a camera in it, now there's a subscription model, right? But, who doesn't want to see Junior on the sideline what it's really like to play quarterback or safety? So that's kind of the plan.
Yeah, but not only that, I mean, it's like a climbing harness or some shit. It's being updated. It's getting... You're not wearing, I mean, shit, the helmet I wore in junior high and high school was probably same helmet some dickhead wore in the 80s, It's like literally, Tennessee high school football probly...
Explains a lot.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. No, but that's awesome, though. So do you actually buy those things back? Or do they send them in, refurbish, send them back?
You send them right back. Okay. So they send them in. Most people do it every 2 years, but the NFL teams, NCAA teams, the big high schools, they do it every year. So they ship them in. We rip them apart, inspect it. If it's the 16th string punter, right, they just look at it, put a sticker on it, a flat rate, send it back, right?
16th. It's got the single bar.
Our competitors, though, like if, let's say you're the high school coach at XYZ High School, you send 100 helmets in there, it's like, 15 of these all need to be replaced with brand new ones because there's a catastrophic failure. And then the other 85, they'll send you like a dental bill of what's wrong with them. We just have a flat rate. If you send us 100, you get 100 back. And some of that's liability. It's like, Are you telling me that out of those 15 helmets that the catastrophic failure happened in the last play, the last game, or was the kid playing with the bad helmet?
Right.
So, if something fails on one of these, you're going to see it right
like that
away.
Mahomes helmet in the playoffs is freezes and then breaks and
Yeah.
What was that? 2 years ago?
It was a couple years ago, and I've speculated what that is.
Was that a
or been
Rydell?
told. No. It was a Vices helmet, and
Should.
But yeah, Shutt owns Vices. I'm friendly with their CEO actually, and all the people that are in the space. Nobody has bad intentions, right? I mean, all of these. Even our arch rivals, and the sales guys are great, but we just feel we had a better product, and the independent labs check that box. But stuff like that's going to happen. But the big thing is, hey, the helmet failed. He was okay. Onward, and whether it was a paint issue or a temperature issue.
Yeah, there's no malicious intent.
No, nobody's doing
helmets.
that.
Not like
Yeah.
I would imagine. You guys want to take a break? Because I know Nick just went to the bathroom ready to go too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nah.
Disabled parking space one.
Oh, really?
She's like, my kid got vaccine and now is autistic, and she was pretty irate. And I'm like,
Well.
it's fucking funny. Like,
Wait, she was mad about him parking in the park.
Handicap. Thank you.
Does autistic count as handicap?
oh my god.
I guess it depends on where you're on the spectrum.
Dude, I said that the other day. I was on an Emerald Spear meeting, and we were talking about like getting to this venue for like an event for the Del Mar Food and Wine Festival, and I was like, "It's all right, I got retard plates in my truck."
Oh man.
God.
Dude, my wife looks at me and is like, "What the fuck?" And I look at it like everyone else,
Oops.
like, "You're team guys, right?" And they're like, "Nice hard R." And I'm like, "All right, I'm not saying that anymore." I'm like, "Don't wonder I've
man.
been fired a few times."
Yeah, well, that's better than the other
I'm
one.
like, "Hey, all your kids are normal," but I don't know. I thought I was poking fun of myself, but I
That's
guess not.
funny.
Self-deprecating humor.
Yeah.
The best. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I didn't call somebody else retarded.
Yeah, exactly. I call myself retarded. I didn't park wherever. The phone got real fucking quiet. And I'm like,
man.
"Oh, fuck, don't fire me."
That's how you know the joke's either really good or really bad. Oh, now you got to pee? Now that we clap back in?
What the fuck?
All right.
All right, where were we? Fuck Kevin.
Yeah. So we're talking about how to, because this is super cool. When we're like you, we're still digging ourselves out of our fucking hole, but we got a lot of things that are like going our way right now, which is really good. So hopefully next couple of months we'll be in a position where we can actually like
Sip of that was like,
spend some money on shit. But we're talking about like how to. What does the audience want to hear from this, right?
Yeah.
And I think a really good arc for this would be, because what a lot of people deal with in their lives is everybody has challenges. Everybody has these crux moments in their lives where they're faced with a decision and like, fuck, what do I do? So I think it'd be cool to talk about how you face that crux moment, you committed to this, how it's going, and then what if somebody's going through that moment right now, or maybe they haven't made the decision yet, they haven't committed the decision yet.
Yeah.
What does that journey for them look like, and paint a picture from your perspective and like how that's gone for you.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair because I got a couple of pivotal points. My first fucking job, $2.85 an hour, fried chicken place, famous recipe fried chicken. I graduated and went to wash Pontiac Trans Ams at the Pontiac dealership.
oh, nice.
That's my first one.
Greasy
Real
ass fingers.
transitions, right? I mean, when I was selling shit, when I worked at Xerox, and then I went and did the deal with Executone and Bain in this corporate environment. I just hated it. You've got all these parameters that don't make sense, and the U.S. lost the Vietnam War because somebody from this Ivy Tower is making decisions for you,
Yeah.
and that's what was happening in corporate America. I'm like, dude, that's not going to work in this case. And if you don't trust me to make the decision, which I understand you don't. So you put guideposts, which might be HR, it might be pricing discounts, it might be other things. But I can't operate like this. I need to work quicker and faster with what's going on in front of me and decentralize command. So when I was going to pivot, the biggest challenge I made, and I think the biggest challenge anybody has, is it's like, dude, how did you go and start your business? How did you start your business? Or how did you start your business? First off, do your best not to build a fucking nut where you got a $1,500 car payment,
Yep.
huge rent,
Low overhead.
insurance, your, booze and ass bill is huge every month. You have all this other stuff, right? And the next thing you know, you're like, I can't leave this because if I go there and it takes 6 months versus 3, I'm fucked, right? And then if you have people that are relying on you, it even makes it worse, or you have a judgment because you're divorced or whatever else. So first off, try to keep your nut in order. You're never going to be like, well, when I was 17 or when I was 24, I just spent too little. Like, again, something nobody's ever fucking said. Right? On the other hand, I mean, I get the fucking Amex bill, 50-some thousand bucks, and I'd be like, well, I'll
it was
rein
good
in
while
next
it
month.
lasted.
Yeah, exactly.
Cabo.
But the whole thing was, when I was going to transition from my regular job to starting that marketing company, I'm like, fuck, how am I going to do this? Like, I can't afford to make that switch. So I started to look on Monster and other things for companies that were looking for employment or employees that I could do. And I'd call them and be like, hey, listen, you're looking for someone. I'll do it for 2/3 of that. But I'm only going to come in the office, 1.5 days a week. And you can dump me in 30 days. And I took de-risk the thing completely for them.
Right.
Then I went and got 3 of those. And I just worked my ass off. So I was doing 3 jobs, which
Sounds like my business model.
Yeah. And the thing is nobody's going to outwork you.
Right.
So I knew that I would be better than
Unless
the
you're
person that did it
hungover.
before. Most of the time. But I could work on the weekend. I could work on Sunday. I could work at night. So I'm knocking this shit out. And now I'm cash flowing some money and I'm saving some. So now I could start focusing on, where I'm going with this business, where I didn't have to show up 8 or 10 hours a day at XYZ company and fucking work there.
Yeah, smart.
And that was the biggest thing. But the other thing, and this is learn from mistakes, not success, is the first thing that comes along that sounds good is not the best thing that comes along.
Yeah.
And the person sitting across from you, I don't give a shit if it's somebody that you're thinking of marrying, a boss, a business partner, what's the win for them? If you don't realize what the win for that person is, then you're fucked to begin with. Because what are the intentions? That person wants you to join because you got a couple of nickels. That person wants you to join because they're starting an app company and they don't know fuck all about coding, and you're going to do all that work. Now, if you set the expectation right and it's complimentary, but don't react to opportunity, respond to it. And sometimes you got to sit down and, take a week, take a couple of days, think about it. But you need an optimistic, hey, what's the best thing that can happen? But what's the worst thing that can happen? Where if this thing turns to shit and I'm 25 grand in the hole in credit card debt because this blows up and now I got to pay my rent, my car payment on a credit card because I don't have the cash. So you have to have a plan to transition from point A to point B. What's that plan? And then, hey, nobody just got in a fucking ship and started here and went here with no plan. I mean, maybe Columbus did, but there were like 50 other fucking dudes that tried to do it that got fucked up and lost, or, they got all like the poison fucking turkey on the ship or whatever else. So, the reality is you got to break it down, and just because you get emotionally attached to that path doesn't mean you should stay on it. Like, I had products when I was in the infomercial space, and I loved the product, but it wasn't working. And guess what? I'm not buying 1 million of them or 500,000 of them. The customer is. And if they don't want it, I'm either doing a bad job of selling it and adjust that, or I got to attack in a different direction. But the reality is, in that transition, number one, don't be scared to make the transition. But number two, don't be reactive where you're just, hey, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to go do this. You know what? Your boss might be an asshole. Your situation might be untenable. The temporary person you're reporting to that just got plugged in there that you don't like as much as the last person, you're getting screwed, no doubt. But don't cut off your nose to spite your face by quitting that job. Keep doing your work. Do a decent job.
And look elsewhere.
But don't quit and then look. Because you're digging yourself a huge hole, and now you're forcing yourself to take something that you don't necessarily want.
Don't burn the boats.
Burning bridges right there.
And entrepreneurship isn't for everyone either. Like, I mean,
Very true.
I've talked to people, and when you were talking to this kid, he was doing some plumbing at where I live, and the dude's like, yeah, I went to a year school. I didn't like it, and I went apprenticeship plumbing. Guy's making a ton of money, saving it. He's got a nice truck. There's nothing wrong with any of these choices. And he's like, when I'm done working, My mind is completely 100% free. I don't have to carry that shit with me.
Yeah.
And that works for that dude. Maybe that doesn't work for me. But depending on where you are in your life, your choice may be different. Like your personality, let's say from when you were 20 to now, has made some changes, but there's certain decisions that you would make differently at different ages, right? Just because your situation's fucked up. I got little kids. I'm not getting along with my wife. One of my parents is sick and I may need to travel. So if I take a new job and it's in sales and I'm gone for this period or that period. And then the other thing is if you don't like doing something, don't fucking do it because you're going to be miserable.
Facts.
I chased money in the beginning in the sales side because I'm like, you know what? I barely squeaked out with a business degree. The economy was shit. So I'm like, if I sell these fucking boxes of shit that I could give two shits about, I can make more money than if I'm over here doing something that I really like. And that was a mistake because what happened is when I made more money, my car payment went up $200, my rent went up, right? And you can earn your way out of things, but to earn your way out of things, you got to make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And unless you're in entrepreneur land or you come up with some crazy invention, which is a whole nother thing. Everybody's got a fucking idea. If I went through here, you guys would have 10 new ideas.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's shortage of ideas.
yeah, what's the
fucking
barriers to
hate that
entry?
interface.
How much does it cost to do? Are there patent protections? How am I going to sell it? What kind of, carnivorous people are going to jump next to me and then steal the idea? How long will it take to get there? There's all of these, you can get it knocked off super quick, right? And even if somebody impinges on my IP, do I have enough money to fucking sue them? And am I going to be back broken in 3 years if, hey, guess what? Yeah, there's $20 million in damages, but the jury's going to award you $800,000 and the law firm takes $500. Now you got $300,000 and you're $2 million in the hole. Like those are the things you got to think of. But I think the biggest thing is you're at point A, get to point B. You're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to set waypoints along the way, and you're going to have to reevaluate and potentially alter your trajectory. Unless you're willing to do those, hold tight and keep looking because in the history, again, going back to the history of man, this is the third time I've brought this up. Dude, how many times have you gone and you're like, oh, dude, that fucking car, you know what? I fucking lost it. I wish I would have gotten it or that house. Dude, something better comes along, right? I mean, that's just the nature of the world.
If it's meant to be.
Yeah. Now, sitting on the sideline the whole time, the man in the arena speech is my favorite speech. And we had a conversation about this. I can't read it without getting a little crackly voice because it weighs heavy on me. It weighs heavy on you. Weighs heavy on you. I mean, anyone that's done their own thing.
I made a whole video to it.
Yeah. And think about how ahead of things that speech was. Like I think about a guy like Tiger Woods, whether he's a good or a bad guy, irrelevant, but I'm going to use him as an example. People are like, oh, there's this Asian black dude, and he's a pretty good golfer. And people are on the couch cheering, oh, my God, it's awesome. We love him. Tiger Woods this, Tiger Woods that, golf balls, putters, da-da-da-da.
Dude, Nike shit went through the fucking roof when they grabbed him.
Totally did. Then all of a sudden, who knows what his home life was like. I'm not blaming his wife for him, but clearly something was fucked up. As a dude, I could guess, but let's just, move on past that. He gets in a fucking fight with his wife. She's banging on him with the putter. He jumps in his trucks, crashes, whatever. Now he's a bad guy. Same people on the couch like, oh, he's rotten.
Yep.
Then he goes back and he wins the Masters. Same people on the couch clap and cheering him on, right?
Yep.
It's like, hey, guess what? You're on the fucking couch, right? I'm out here trying my best. If you're making that transition, there's going to be people in your family and your friends that throw rocks at you and mock you for trying to make the transition. You know why? Because they're going to be sitting on the fucking couch the whole time. So don't be afraid to make that transition. Don't let somebody else drag you down. That'll be the biggest regret because all of us will make more money. You're going to run into new situations, opportunities, but you cannot make more time. And that's what I would tell anyone transitioning.
That's single-handedly probably the best piece of advice ever on this podcast.
Yeah, it makes sense.
For sure.
I totally agree.
I appreciate that. See, I've made some mark, actually.
That was couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've known you that long, but I know the stock that you are hanging around with. But
3 hours and 20 minutes is how long we know each other.
But I will say that, as I get older now, I start looking at stuff and I think about the people that are around and how important they are. And if I show up in here in a Pagani whatever, or I show up here in a and there's some limitations, right? Like we can't get too out of control. But my quality of life is not going to be that different. But my quality of life of knowing you, being able to talk with you about entrepreneurial stuff or goods and bads, and not being shielded, but just be able to have open dialogue.
Yeah.
Or the same with you and the goods and bads we've had over 20 years, or meeting you and hearing your story, and now having that. There's no way you can assign a value to that is too great, because that's what's going to help you get through when they're having a good day and you're cheering them on, and there's no envy in that. If tomorrow your new movie that you're working on is a home run and you make a gazillion dollars, dude, I'm not envious of you at all. I'm cheering you on. Those are the people you want around you, right?
For sure. Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's I think a lot of people look at us because we're still a small show, obviously, and pretty new, but we're gaining some traction, and a lot of people are starting to look at us as we're different from them. But the reality is, like, it's the same, and the mechanisms to get further in anything are the same. So I would say if you're listening to this and you're resonating with some of these things, like, oh, I have an idea, or I have these things, I have these, whatever it is, find some friends, find some people that you already know, and just like literally just do what we're doing. Go have an intentional conversation with them, sit down,
bounce it off,
chat about it. Have some drinks or Diet Coke or whatever your fucking thing is, but just have a quality conversation with your friends. And there's so much value in that, man. There's so much fucking value in that, because like they're going to tell you what's right, they're going to tell you what's wrong, they're going to give you their opinion, and you don't have to take it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
It depends. I think a lot of people make the mistake of overvaluing people's opinions because they're close to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'd say in this endeavor, just realize if you're doing something new, don't take advice from somebody who hasn't done something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Still got
That's a
to
great
outweigh
point.
the pros and cons yourself, and ultimately it's your decision to make.
Yeah.
Versus going, well, he told me not to. And you're like, well,
yeah, fuck that guy. He's on the couch.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
yeah.
A/B test.
You're in the arena. Like, go find other people who are in the arena doing shit, and go talk with them. And it's so easy to go learn from people, like go connect with people. That's what I love about social media, is you can go fucking DM. You can go DM fucking anybody you want, you know? I mean, there's some bots now and shit, but I mean, you can reach out to anybody who's doing what you want, and as long as you approach it the right way, they're probably going to give you at least a little nugget, a little piece of advice, you know? So if you're in fucking middle of nowhere, Kentucky, and you're not disconnected, you're not as disconnected as you think.
Yeah.
Start with your friend group, start just having conversations with people, start pushing forward, start taking steps, start making progress, and expand your network, start doing more of that, and just fucking learn. Just fucking learn, and then through that process, you're gonna make progress towards your goal. And that's all we've all done towards any goal. Like we've all been this. Like you just know
especially
nothing.
if it's something you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there, man. People just need to do the fucking work. They need to be the man in the arena, not the person on their mom's couch fucking bitching about like coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think people are willing to assist that are more seasoned, right? Like somebody knows about something and they see you aspiring to that. For every one person that's going to be a dick and, tell you to turn your wheel and go into the ditch, there's 10 people that are going to try to help you, and you can take little bits and pieces from all of that and learn. And that group of people, and what are you listening to? Like if you're sitting in death scrolling, stupid political stuff, or some chick dancing with a vibrating butt plug or whatever other crazy thing. I mean, because that shit is on Instagram, really. I mean, I've
never seen it.
But what are you spending your time doing, right? What are you looking at? Is there a little bit of history you can learn about, a little bit of business you can learn about? Who is doing what I want to do, and how are they doing it? Because you're going to take all kinds of nuggets from that.
Exactly.
Well, and there's a lot to take away from that too, right? Because I get a lot of people that ask me a lot of questions about how I do what I do, right? In like the media marketing space, photo, video, whatever. However, like I only have so many hours in the day. And so to respond to something that is easily searchable also kind of just puts like a bad taste in my mouth. Not to mention, I didn't really have kind of getting into the space that I'm in. I didn't really have mentors or anybody that was kind of doing what I was doing. And kind of what I do now with running a media and marketing company, it's like it was not necessarily groundbreaking, but you were either in an agency or in a department, and you weren't kind of doing that. So, part of me just kind of like, takes a big sigh, and I'm like, fucking research this, dude.
Yeah,
you're not spending your time, putting in the effort.
Figure it the fuck out.
Literally, that's kind of how I feel sometimes.
You got to ask the right questions. Like, we get this all the time. People are
Right.
like, how do I get the buds? I'm like, motherfucker, Google it, dude. I don't even know. I had the buds in '97. I'm like, bro, I don't fucking know what it's like now. Like, Google that. But if they come with a legitimate question, like, hey, this is a specific question that I can't find the answer to, but I'm happy to help.
Yeah,
I'm
for
happy
sure.
to help.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Yeah. But if they're like some bullshit like that you can easily answer, I'm like, what's that Google service? Like, let me Google this for you.
Yeah.
Like, bro, fuck off. Yeah, you gotta ask
That's
a right
let me
question.
Google this for you.
Yeah. And the more unique a thing that you're trying to do, the fewer people there are to help, right?
Yeah.
Like when you were doing the movie thing, like I would love to have helped in whatever way I could. It's just not my space. I'd done production stuff with the infomercial, but you were doing like high level stuff, and you had to kind of chart that path. And I know Harry helped a little bit, but how did you learn that whole space?
Just repetition. I mean, honestly, being on sets, and I've stepped on my dick a lot, doing stupid shit because, Harry would be there for some of it, or Keith Willard would be there for some of it. But I mean, I know several times when, I'm talking to actors, and I'm 6 months out of retiring from third phase. So of course I'm talking to this fucking actor like a fucking bug student, Like,
Run,
hey,
you
how'd that go? I'm
motherfucker.
like, dude, that was fucking horrible. You just shut down. Look. And then Keith would come up to me like, bro, you can't fucking talk to these guys like that. And I'll be like, fuck those guys. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, there's a lot of trial and error. And, I've said that to other people before. Like, I still have dudes hit me up all the time. Like, dude, I really want to get into fucking Hollywood. I want to do this. Like, if you ever have a film you want to you can bring somebody on board with, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm barely getting myself work, bro. Like, if I get to a point where I'm bringing a team of guys on, that happens. Like, I think that's happened like once, like on season 1 of Jack Ryan. I was able to pull like 5 or 6 team guys into like Morocco, and we were filming some shit. That's just because they thought I walked on water, and then we had a great fucking product, and we made it fucking work. But it's like one of those things where, had I not had my retirement and shit coming out of the military, I mean, essentially learning a new job. Harry's like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Oh, by the way, you're not making fucking anything, or you're making peanuts, and you're driving from fucking San Diego to LA or Long Beach every day, or you're getting your own hotel room, or times when me and Kenny Shearer are like sleeping in our fucking cars. It's like,
It also speaks to sweat equity.
Yeah. I think the common thread here is that everybody who's done something is willing to help somebody. They see they're already trying to make it work. Yeah. If you can see they're already trying to take the steps, like, bro, I'm happy to help that.
Yeah.
But also, you get to a certain level and you're just annoyed with people who are like, how do I do this? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, Google it. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. You obviously haven't put any fucking interest into this yourself.
So I'm wasting my time by helping you.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the guy that does, I had a childhood buddy, and he's a guy that never quits.
Just one?
But, I mean, I picked on a lot when I was a kid. But great guy, biggest challenge, though, he'd do this, headwind would come, then he'd do this, headwind would come, do this, headwind would come. It's like, if I want to become a jockey, no matter what, people say, oh, you can do anything you want, just work hard. That's like, bro, I'm 219 on a bad day, right?
Cut your legs off.
Yeah, there's a 0% chance of me being a fucking jockey, right? Even if I'm down to like full on, like going back to Somalia '93, like weight, I'm still not going to be a jockey. So, dude, take that off the list, right? Just like, you're not going to go and play defensive tackle in the NFL. Nope. The Super Bowl this year. We can pretend, but it's not going to fucking happen. Now, there's still the eye hole that's there that you can get through. Just because it's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. But hard is different than you don't have the tools physically or mentally to do something.
Right.
Choose something within your scope.
Yeah. It can be completely different off the reservation, right? And sometimes you got to take a couple of steps back on the finance side, too. Like, you have to be ready to do that, or you're going to give up some other shit. Like, I got the volatile girlfriend. I don't right now. But if I did, and that's sucking up a bunch of time, dude, you may have to shoot that. Or you may not be going out and sipping beers and watching football on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday nights, right? Yeah. You're going to have to reel that back to one. Sacrifice is part of all of this thing, and some people just don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, you said, too, they make progress and they get headwind and they switch. They make progress, they get headwind and they switch. Dude, everything is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Everything you fucking choose is hard. It's going to be hard.
Worth a shit.
Yeah, and you're going to have challenges, man. Even just living fucking life, doing nothing is hard. Like, you're going to have challenges, dude. Like, but that's the nature of the thing. Like, if you want to do anything of note, like, you're going to have these things. You got to figure it the fuck out, and you got to overcome, and you got to have a certain amount of fucking resilience and character, and just make the decision to fucking drive through and commit to it.
Yeah.
You know? And it works. It's worth it. But yeah, there's no easy fucking button. There's no easy path, dude. Like, you got to fucking do the work.
Yeah.
The fuck was that?
I think that's my seat squeaking.
Oh. Well, there's a ghost. Well,
could be.
All's good.
Good place to end on.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
You guys are all awesome. I appreciate you having me on, not being not worthy of sitting in the seat after all the other guys that have been in the seat.
Thank you for you doing a lot of shit. Thank you for making the time to come on. Where can people find you?
So you can email me at nick@lighthelmets.com. You go to Light Helmets. You can find me on LinkedIn.
What's the Instagrams for you and the Light Helmets?
It's at lighthelmets.com, and I'm at Esayian, Esayyan. You'll be able to see it in the description. But
yeah, we'll tag in all the stuff.
Just hats off to all you guys. For people like me that didn't, get after it. Appreciate you protecting my family, everybody else's family. The way we operate here means a lot to me. Not everybody gets a chance to say it. Thank you for your service to me is not enough. But I know the gap of time that you took away where you could have been doing something selfish, you did something selfless. And not that you didn't gain friends or have that opportunity, but I don't think everybody understands the wear and tear on family. And when you go through that transition, and it's not always just what you saw or what you did, but none of us were designed to do that. And you guys went and did it so that we can walk around here. In World War II, everybody knew somebody that served. In the last 25 years while this was going on, not everybody did. And I've had the privilege of it, so I appreciate you doing what you did, but also including me today in this discussion. Thank you.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to get after it, and you've definitely got after it. And we don't have do nothing bitches on the fucking podcast. So I'm stoked to have you, brother.
I appreciate you. Thanks.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.
All right, everybody. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments.
Check out our Patreon.
Also check out our Patreon. And link in bios. Peace.
Thank you.